Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Good morning. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you. Well, I don't know how happy the show is today. Robert Walsh has been dealing with what did I say last night, Bert, on Primetime? A series of unfortunate events. It has indeed been a series of unfortunate events for Robert Walsh. We'll get to that here in just a second. Nate Washington is on the show, as is the custom. The Preds have their season opener today, so perhaps we'll touch on that before polls. So I don't know what the level of interest in just generally is for the Preds right now, coming off a disappointing season for them. But you get to start anew today. We'll see what that looks like at Bridgestone Arena tonight. Robert?
What up? What's going on?
Yeah, that was weird. Don't do that.
You don't like the what up?
No, it's just not you.
I literally do that every time I answer the phone.
That's not true.
Yeah, maybe not to you. I'm like, hello, sir. What can I do for you?
Because I'll like shot collar you if you don't use proper grammar.
If Lucas called me, I'd be like, what up?
Sometimes he'll do the old Budweiser commercial thing.
What's that?
You know.
Bud. No, what's that? No, I haven't done a what's that.
No, he never does that.
No, what made me say what's up today is when I went to get in my car to drive to work, my center console was up and all my papers for my dash were strewed about because someone broke in my car. Yeah. Well, good thing for them is, I guess better for me, that I don't own anything of value in my house or my car. So they had nothing to take. It was just...
So literally nothing? The only thing that I associate your car with is trash.
No. It was pretty clean, relatively. Well, not after they got done with it because, there's Hardee's napkins strewed all about. They're like, oh, he's got to have something good in here. I know he does. Wrong. Wrong-o, bucko. So I got in. I called Cheyenne. Cheyenne's like, oh, my center console was up too. So they nabbed both of us. She probably had something of value in her car, but she'd never know because her car is also a trash heap. So be that as it may. But I had a little bit of a karmic reminder that I probably deserve this at some level.
How so?
I was a delinquent. I was a troubled youth in the community to which I grew up, and I would do debaucherous things.
You broke into people's cars.
Well, no, that was college, but that was drunken mistakes, statute of limitations.
I was going to say, what is the statute of limitations?
It's what, I mean, we've all been out of college for at least, I mean, I'm at least 10 years out now.
But like, okay, so some of these stories I probably would need to research the statute of limitations, but none of you guys know my friends, and you definitely wouldn't go look them up to go haggle me. So I'll tell you some stories. Where do we want to start? Do you want to start at the one that I was mad at my chemistry teacher for, or do you want to start with the one where I performed chemical warfare on a guy that was running against me in student council?
That one.
Yeah.
Oof. All right, so this guy was a...
They somehow seem like they could be related.
It seems like there's a connective tissue.
Did you learn
between
something
these?
from the chemistry teacher you hated that you used on your enemies?
Oh, no, not necessarily. It was my own bodily fluids. So this guy was a jerk, man. What a total turd in a biscuit, man. Just the worst kind of guy. Preppy, snooty, better than you. His nose was so high up in the air, birds would fly into it. Sorry about that. Well, he decided, his family decided they were going to go on a beach trip. When he was a very young kid, probably like sophomore, junior. So when I knew that he was out of town, I was like, what can we do? What can we do? We loved rolling houses, forking houses. Did you guys fork anybody?
Forking houses?
Yeah, go buy
like Frozen?
Oh, don't you stick forks in their lawn?
Yeah, you buy like 500 forks.
I've heard of that.
And it's just a time waster. Someone would have to go pick it up. But like all of those seem juvenile. Not to the level of delinquency that we should strive to reach when going against your high school rival. So I went to my dad's house, who's a redneck and a hoarder, and there were just things all over his yard. There's bathtubs, toilets. So as soon as I saw that porcelain throne, I went over there, grabbed it, got like 6 of my buddies, and all of us proceeded to do our business in that toilet.
The same toilet?
It was in the yard. It's not like anyone's ever going to use it again.
That is actually chemical warfare.
So we threw it in the back
Biological warfare.
There you go. That's what my mom was saying. Oh, don't ever tell the story. Well, I'm telling it now, Mammy. So we put it in the back of my car, windows all rolled down. We're all hanging our heads out the window, gagging. Get to his house, and this is in the middle of July, by the way. He had a screened-in porch. So we all hoisted that thing, took it to his screened-in porch, left it there in the middle of July while they were gone all weekend.
Oh.
So all of that to say, I cannot be mad if this was kids doing kids things, because I have done much, much, much worse.
So because you in your youth left a detached toilet on the back porch of your enemy, full of excrement, you are forgiving of anybody that commits crimes against you.
Nah, just delinquent.
To a certain extent. How many crimes did you commit so we can even out the tally here a little bit? Because it sounds like you've got some karmic justice coming your way that's been building over time. This seems like a compilation of things, a cumulative effect.
So, for example, I was taking AP chemistry, and we did a big project. The teacher gave us a C+, which I was not very happy with, nor was my group. So we decided, again, rolling his house, forking his house, like all of these things. Like
this is the chemistry teacher.
Yes,
for a passing grade.
Yeah, it just wasn't up to the level. So we all decided we're going to make a new one. Went to the grocery store, probably 8 of us, 2 different carloads. We were militant. We each bought a bag of apples. So all of us had a bag of apples. There's like 8 apples in a bag. Go to this dude's house at like 2 a.m. and pelt his garage door with these apples. 8 times 8, what is that, 64? So 64 apples. Bang, 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 all over his garage door. We're like, yeah, we did it. On the way out, we're running to get in the back of my buddy's car. The drop back door is up, so we can just hop right in. And I keep feeling these phantom touches on the back of my head, like, oh, it's just my adrenaline. But as I jump and I turn my body to like land in his trunk, I see the neighbor get out sprinting after us. You remember the guy that raced the prolific racer from Get Out, and you just see him running like he is hauling ass after us. We get away, but he notices one crucial detail: a Coastal Carolina sticker in the corner of my buddy's windshield. He's the only one that has it. So we know
smoking gun.
Before we get pulled into the office, someone alerts us, hey, they know it was you. Just fess up. So all of my buddies, sans the guy who had the Coastal Carolina sticker, go and get together. We're like, hey, let's just admit to it, eat it, take the punishment. No one told David. So David goes into the principal's office and is like, "You got nothing on us. There's no way you'll take us down. Like, this is against my rights that you would accuse me of doing something like this." Well, everyone else rolled over on you. So David got suspended for 2 days. And
you
we
narked?
We all admitted that we did it as a group.
That's a narc.
And no one we didn't say, "Hey, David did this." It was David's idea. We just said that we did it.
Like, hey, we did it. It was us. They just didn't communicate to David that, hey, we're all fessing up.
Feels like a narc.
No, this isn't narc level.
The punishment was we all had to go out there and like take the dents out of his garage door. Like was somebody with a ball peen hammer on the inside being like, "Bing, bing, bing, bing."
How did you know where your teacher lived?
Oh, it's small community. Small community. We had I think we had knocked this guy's mailbox over before.
My
but anyway, I deserved it. I deserve all of this.
So
I deserve
all that to say, you deserve to have your car broken into by some assumed delinquents
because your window wasn't broken.
No.
And neither was Cheyenne's.
No, but she's very anal about. She's one of those people that when she gets out of her car, she hits it like. Beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep. It's locked, baby. Beep, 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 beep. I think it's good.
Just a few more times.
So I know that she locked it. There's a world we can live in where I did not lock mine. But
How
there's
do people even break into cars then without smashing a window?
Who knows? I think it was
the old coat hanger.
Coat hanger could work. There's a tennis ball trick. I think they have a programmable fob.
Tennis ball
was my issue. But
Yeah, you can probably jailbreak a key fob.
Talking about cyber criminality here?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
How
Step into the mind of a criminal. I'm trying to tell you what I would do.
No, I know what you would do. You would find a lawn toilet and defecate in it and leave it on somebody's porch.
I didn't take anything, but I left something.
But nothing of value was taken, right?
No, not that I know. Who knows? They could have taken my registration and be taking out multiple loans in my name right now. Who knows?
You didn't check.
But anyway,
you didn't check on your documentation.
That was a long way to go about saying.
J.C. Latham was back at practice yesterday. Limited, but back.
Wonder if he's ever done anything. God, can you imagine a toilet J.C. Latham dumped in?
No, I don't want to think about what J.C. Latham does in the bathroom.
No, he was trying to be an actor. He was trying to get on a show. Remember, he came on the show and talked about it. He was either going to act or play football, and he chose football, and it's worked out.
I appreciate your efforts to spin this back to sports, but we're here now. What's the worst thing that you ever? What's the worst thing to that effect that you ever did as a high schooler or a grade schooler?
There's
Fess up, straight and narrow over there.
Or if you guys have a call, 615-737-1045.
No, I
would
don't want
love
to spend time
hear
taking calls on
I
that.
would love to hear your high school delinquency.
Well, that's just because you're looking for new ideas for when they catch this car thief that you're tracking down, because we have many police officers in the audience, so you're going to use literally the force of the audience today to try and track this guy or gal down. What's the worst thing that you did in high school, Lucas?
2012 is long enough ago, right? Yes. I think that's 2011, maybe.
Isn't the statute of limitations is 5 years?
It depends on the crime.
Oh, okay. Careful.
Me and my
You're
buddies.
good. It's over 10 years ago.
We in the neighborhood walked to this kid's house that was on like our bus. This is before we could even drive, that we weren't particularly fond of, and it was just going to be, we're just going to roll his house, just a good old fashioned TPing, like kids
Standard.
do. Yeah. But it just escalated. It turned into us taking the garbage cans and just strewing this trash all over their front yard. And I'm sure his parents weren't happy.
So nothing overwhelmingly creative, though. Just destruction.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing I'm willing to say on the air.
That's fair. The worst thing that we did was saran wrap a car. Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah.
But not only did we saran wrap this car, we first coated the car with, tubs upon tubs, like Costco-sized tubs of Vaseline.
Oh, my
So you Vaseline the car first, then you saran wrap the car, and then we got one of those giant buckets of margarita mix and dumped it in his hot tub. So we turned his hot tub into a giant margarita.
Oh, I love that. Do you
Clogged up all the vents. I think we destroyed like a $5,000 hot tub.
One time when we were kids, you remember you used to doing things to people's cars. You can put bologna on people's cars.
Does it take the paint off?
Yes. It
Is
will
that
make
like eggs?
It will turn their car into a polka dot, essentially. When they try to peel the frozen bologna off,
I see.
It will be like a polka dotted Dusty Rhodes-esque singlet.
What did you think was happening?
By the way, I've received a text that raises a very good question
Uh-oh.
from an anonymous friend that has a follow-up for your toilet story.
Okay.
not blue.
No.
My friend Henry texts in and says, why didn't they move the toilet first and then do their business
As
in
opposed
it?
to traveling
rather
with the
than
toilet.
do their business in it and
Because
travel with
we
the
were
toilet in the car.
Well, technically, we would be on their property, and we were trying to do a quick get in, get out thing. It
Okay.
wasn't like we wanted to be
they
there,
weren't. All
and then
right.
everyone take a
Fair
turn.
enough.
Like,
Fair
all right,
enough.
I can't go yet. I'm nervous. I can't poop in front of my friends. So we all parked in the elementary school parking lot, did our business there, threw it in the back
much
of my
better,
Jeep.
much better.
Much
Oh,
better.
no.
Much better. Much better.
Anyway,
Buck, expect a toilet. Expect a porcelain present on your back stoop next road game. Actually, this weekend.
And while I'm in Vegas?
Yes, if you would like
Listen,
to.
based on what's happening at the airport, I don't even know if I'm going to make it there or back from Vegas. This sounds like a hellscape at BNA right now.
If you guys would like to contribute to the porcelain present, 615-737-1045, we can all leave Buck a very nice gift.
Oh, God. Should we talk about sports today?
Perhaps.
yeah, Preds opening game is today. I know we've referenced it. They host the Blue Jackets at Bridgestone Arena. Brock Bowers did not practice yesterday, his knee injury, so he is in doubt for Sunday's game. A lot of rest days on the Titans injury report, which makes sense.
That wind really took it out of him, huh?
After that's a West Coast trip. You come back, it's a long flight. I mean, has it been asked why they did not just stay out there?
Yes. When they brought up the schedule initially, I think he referenced a couple of different logistical things. Just it's basically what they did at training camp was too hard to replicate on the West Coast. At least this was an East Coast swing. They could physically drive trucks with all the different stuff that they need. It would be a much bigger undertaking to ship that thing out to the West Coast like Malarkey did in 2017. 615-737-1045. William Jones says all flights are going in and out of BNA. No more grounded flights. Well, I hope that stays the case until Saturday. Honestly, it's not even like I wouldn't be the most upset in the world if I got to BNA and my flight was canceled. I would be more upset if I got stuck in Vegas and couldn't get home. Like, that sounds ungodly. That sounds like the worst possible scenario. Have you all ever been stranded in an airport before? I know we have to go to break at some point.
Oh, yes. Awful. That was the time I got arrested in Dallas and bought a flight ticket back home from the wrong airport.
I would like to hear that story coming up next. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National Lakefront Resort Golf and Marina Community is releasing a brand new phase of lake lots, one day only, Saturday, October 18th. You can get a cottage package with a boat slip from $379,900, home sites with 40 miles of views, and a covered boat slip from just $9,900. Move-in ready homes and custom builds, lot sizes up to 7 acres, private golf cart access to a new marina and resort, 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, a brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, waterfront concerts, pickleball, pools, on-site coffee shop, and so much more. Play on the lake or simply relax at the waterfront restaurant just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available, so celebrate the lake life and make memories. This limited property release, Saturday, October 18th. Visit TennesseeNational.com or call 865-408-9992 to secure your private tour. Memories begin here at Tennessee National. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. All right, so Robert teased before we went to break about a situation where he was arrested in Dallas. Y'all ever watch Cops?
Did I watch Cops?
Of course.
It was like 80% of the reason I was sweaty getting home from work.
Not now, Mom. Cops is on.
Leave me alone.
So, I have heard this story, I'm pretty sure. Lucas says he has not. And so, like anything that we do here, all of our shame is going to be made public because I need to make content for 3 hours. And so that's what I'm going to do. So you're going to tell us why it was that you got arrested in Dallas at leaving a WrestleMania event?
It was, okay, here's the whole story. Went to WrestleMania with my buddies. We're probably like 23, 24. Walking into Jerry World, we're going through security, and I look down, and there's an envelope on the ground with a couple 20s scattered out of it. So very quickly, I reach down, grab it, go through security, get to the other side, and I'm like, hey, I just found an envelope with a bunch of money in it. And I counted it, and it was $700. I was like, oh, wow, this is more money than I've probably ever had on my person at one time in my entire life. So I told my buddies, hey, we're about to have the best WrestleMania ever. We go in, we go to the drinks. I'm like, can I get 2 Jack and Coke doubles? Can I get 3 of those margarita slushies?
So you bought 10 drinks.
For
$700?
Back then, nah, dude, I had plenty of money leaving. Anyway, we get tore up from the floor up, end up leaving. We have to take a bus back to the hotel. I end up blacking out on the bus, but that's no big deal. You're allowed to sleep on buses. We get out, we go back to the bar, and at the bar, I was with a bunch of other wrestlers, like people in the wrestling community. We get to the bar, and there's Matt and Jeff Hardy, there's Ric Flair, there's Shane Helms, there's like North Carolina wrestling royalty. And when we get there, we're kind of accepted and welcomed with open arms. Ric Flair just ordered a shot of Fireball shots, so we're like, or a tray of Fireball shots. So yeah, we're gonna party. I don't remember much after that. I ended up blacking out in the hotel lobby. They thought I was intoxicated, which I was. They took me to the drunk tank, and when I get into the drunk tank, there's this homeless man who's sitting there, and I was nervous, scared. This has never happened to me. It never happened to me since. So I'm asking this guy, like, what do I do? Do I call somebody? He's like, you can try, and he points at the telephone in there, and it's not attached. It's just a loose weapon for anyone in there to work. I find out this homeless man's name is Barbecue Bob. He's in there a lot. And when they bring around crackers to sober everyone up, he offers me his crackers. So I was like, oh, I am sworn to Barbecue Bob. They end up not letting me out.
He bought your loyalty.
He did, and I was very loyal to Bob. If a riot would have broken out, I've got Bob's back, and Bob has Bert's back. They end up letting me out at like 12:30. I missed my ride because I rode to Dallas from North Carolina with someone. So I have to, I'm like, oh, I can't tell my mom, but I have this money left. So I'm like, I'm going to buy a ticket and end up flying. And another woman was like, I can help you. I do this all the time. Let me do it and just give me the money. She buys me a ticket. So I get to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport and go to check in, and the guy laughs at me. He's like, this flight's for next week. I was like, oh, no. I'm like, dude, that was the last of my money. Oh. I need to get home. And he's just like, well, I don't know what to tell you, broke boy, but you need to figure it out. So I end up having to call my mom, who is furious. She ends up buying me a plane ticket but it's not at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. It's at the other airport. So then I have to take an $80 Uber over there, get back. So that's my WrestleMania jailbait story.
Have you ever, I mean, at some point we do need to talk about sports today, but I'm enjoying this conversation too much. Have you ever done that before, bought a flight for the incorrect date? Because I did that coming home from the last Patriots game.
No way. No, that's the only time.
Literally, I was getting ready to, I think they had a bye week after they played the Patriots. I think this was the game that Mac Jones diced him up. I think it was Mac Jones' rookie season. Titans had like a pretty close game. Dontrell Hilliard had a long touchdown run. They looked like they were going to be able to pull it out. They couldn't get it done. So this would have been 2021, I want to say. And I had purchased a flight coming home from New England the week before, but it was for like a month later. So I had to pay like $500 to get out of Logan Airport that night, driving in an Uber back from Foxborough to Logan. So not that big a deal, but just very expensive.
Off my record, though, I'm clean, squeaky clean.
Excellent.
A productive member of society.
What are you doing over there? Are you looking up your
criminal record?
You want the truth?
Yeah.
I'm working on Titans Countdown.
He's like, I'm just going to let Bert get all of this out of his system. I'm going to do some actual
You said an extra 20 minutes? I suppose I could get something done.
The only thing that would have made that better is if Lucas would have been like, oh, really? Yes, as he's just typing away, like not listening to a word I'm saying.
Little Caesars Performance Spotlight.
I thought he was still looking up what he wanted to order at NOCO with Megan next Thursday. Little Caesars Performance Spotlight. Should we play a portion of the install for the audience? Let's do that. Let's give them some actual football knowledge and insight from Greg Cosell since we screwed around for the first half hour of the show. I promise we do have actual football information to get to. But Greg and I did tape the podcast this morning. You can get the full version via the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, or watch the full episode on 104.5 The Zone's YouTube channel, where you can subscribe. But, of course, it's a rare enough thing when Greg and I get to talk about a Titans performance in a win. And that is exactly what we did relative to Cam Ward and some of the other things that allowed the Titans to outlast the Arizona Cardinals in Week 5. Welcome into the install with Greg Cosell of NFL Films. Greg, they won a game. They won a game. I've only seen them do it 4 times in the last 2 years, but by God, they won a game.
I know. So I'd be curious as how the radio has gone, now that they won a game.
It's been honestly a little bit mixed because of Arizona's meltdown versus the way that the Titans kind of played for 3 quarters and finally kicked the door open to go ahead and come back in that game the way that they did after trailing 21-6. So it's a bit of mixed emotion. Some people just, breathing a bit of a sigh of relief. God knows the locker room's happy to have a win, though.
It's funny how things work because obviously the Titans have not been a very good football team. That's not a profound statement, obviously. So, they win a game and they win it in kind of odd ways with things that, happen like the DeMarcado, just being an idiot, and then the interception where Taylor Demerson fumbles. But, it's funny because if let's say that had happened to a team that had been winning, that was a good team, what people would say. They'd say they just know how to win. But because the Titans have not been winning, no one would say that. But if that had happened, if the Eagles had, let's say, won like that, people would say they just know how to win.
It was kind of the story of Kansas City's season last year, right? With some of the weird and wonky endings that they had en route to winning 15 games. And obviously the Chiefs are champions.
Obviously they were a good football team and had been for years. But, that it's just, I always find it interesting the way people frame things, once a team, based on what a team is in their perception of the team. And again, we're not sitting here saying that all of a sudden the Titans are going to win 8 or 9 in a row and be a great team. That's not the point at all. All we have is what's happened up to this point. We don't know what's going to happen this Sunday.
Right. And it's why there's a lot of cliches or coach speak, however you want to generalize it, around the idea of going 1-0 every week. But Greg, I really do think that for teams like this one, that matters a great deal because, okay, whatever happened, whatever went wrong in that one game, we were able to find some ways to manufacture some offense in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter. We were able to outplay good defense to keep ourselves in a game long enough. And the opponent did what they did, and that's fine, but there was enough
Sometimes
there to go 1-0, right? And now you move on to the Raiders. So that's kind of how everybody has to think about it.
Coaches definitely think that way. Coaches just think week to week. They're not looking ahead to who do we play week 10? They're not thinking like that at all. I don't know how players think. They're different. They're, if you're a young player, if you're 22, 23, you're not really fully formed as a human being yet. You might have all kinds of different thoughts, but all Brian Callahan's thinking about and staff is we want to play well and win this week. That's all they want to do.
Correct. And it starts with Cam Ward becoming more consistent. And Greg, just talking to the coaches and talking to Cam yesterday specifically, for them it was almost as simple, and maybe it's not quite this simple, but they kind of boiled it down to the idea that his eyes just haven't been matching up with his feet on a lot of these things. And trying to become more accurate, become more, better with his ball placement, just be a little more disciplined and mechanically sound that way. And that was the case for them for the first 3 quarters. And, he's 5 of 16 in the first half, not necessarily to get into counting stats, but it did feel like he started to get more comfortable when they got into the hurry up, the 2-minute, the 4-minute.
Yeah. I think that there's a couple of things, and we'll get into some positives, obviously, as well. But I think as I was watching this tape, and of course this is game 5, so there'd been 4 other games as well. Plus I'd seen him in college for 2 years. So there's a couple of things, and some might sound contradictory, but there's a balance between all these things. I think he must continue to take the short and check down throws on first down. Sometimes he passes those up. You got to stay ahead of the sticks and keep the playbook open. Tom Brady talks about that all the time, that if the defense is going to give you a 6-yard throw and it's 1st and 10, you got to take a 6-yard throw, because 2nd and 4 is a good down and distance. So Ward has to do that. On the other hand, and this sounds contradictory, but they go together, there's times that he must get a more innate feel for when to work the route concept and let it develop. So there's a balance that he's got to find, and that just comes from playing. Okay. I mean, for instance, there was a time when he threw to Helm. This was on the 3rd possession, so it's first half, when he threw to Helm for 3 yards. And it was a smash concept into the boundary. Smash meaning there's a intermediate route and there's a short route. Helm ran the short route, and Ridley was wide open in the outside void versus cover 2, and there was no pressure on Cam whatsoever, and he just immediately threw it to Helm. So there's a balance. That the only way you find that balance is playing and seeing it more and more and more, knowing, oh, I'm going to have that route, and then you just wait that extra beat and you throw it. So it's just, these are the things you keep learning as you keep playing. And there's no other way to deal with it other than to play.
And to some extent, we saw him do this, and it's not always going to be seamless, isn't the word for what it looked like on Sunday, but it was better, and he was executing more and just kind of not going broke, taking a profit in the second half, in the fourth quarter,
right,
Greg. And the Cardinals gifted them those opportunities, but that initial drive, that 80-yard drive to set up the Tony Pollard touchdown, there was a couple of different examples of that. And honestly, the final drive to set up the game-winning field goal, I thought he did that well to put them in position.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got some explosives too.
Look, we can talk all we want, and anybody can, about, oh, well, they were gifted things. But the reality is they were down 21-6 in the fourth quarter. So, they had to move the ball and score. If they didn't move the ball and score, which had been the case in previous games, and let's say they lost 21-9 or 21-12, whatever it turned out to be, we wouldn't be talking about them being gifted anything. The fact is they still had to move the ball and score.
So with what let's talk about the 47-yard completion to Ridley.
Yeah,
Greg, if we could. It's their most explosive offensive play of the season so far. What was the concept, and what did you see from Cam in that spot?
Yeah, I just want to mention before we get to that, the first play of that drive was the Iammanor 13-yarder.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really refined quarterbacking by Ward, the kind of things we want to see. It doesn't seem like a big play because it's 13 yards, but he looked to the trip side and saw nothing clean. And within the structure, he then came back to the weak side, high-low concept. He was within structure, and he hit Iammanor on the dig. And that was progression reading within the play. And those are the kinds of things that we want to see more and more of, because that's quarterbacking. And that's what you want to see. So anyway, now let's get to the 47-yarder, which was on 3rd and 10. And there's so many elements to this. I want to explain it so it's the people listening can kind of see it. So give me a minute here, because it's really a good play. The number one thing that the route concept was what we call dagger. Okay, so dagger means there's an inside vertical, and an outside of that there's a dig that then cuts underneath the vertical. All right, so and what happened then is the Cards showed late rotation to cover 2. So not only did they have a route concept, but then as Ward took the snap, the Cards changed their entire coverage look. Now, in dagger, 99.9% of the time, okay, you almost never, ever throw the vertical route. That whole play is designed to throw the dig ball, okay? So they went to cover 2, and you could see immediately that Ridley, and he's basically the lifter here because he's running the vertical. He saw the middle open because that's cover 2, middle's open. And instead of just, running to lift, he ran with that, hey, I might get the ball here, or I could get the ball here. And also Buda Baker, who's the middle hole defender, meaning he's running with Ridley. he saw the route concept because Baker's so smart. So he dropped off Ridley to play the dig ball because 99.9% of the time, the throw in dagger is to the dig ball. So both Ridley and Ward saw that the middle was open. We're not throwing the dig, it's got taken away. And now we're going to throw the vertical seam. So it was just great by Ridley and great by Ward. And, obviously he put it right on him. And, he put it on him, but he still had to reach for it. So it was an excellent catch. But that was really high level quarterbacking and recognition by both Ridley and by Ward. It was a really good play.
Yeah, and Greg, we've talked about, and this is a different kind of concept. That is a portion of the install, about 8 minutes of the install today. So you heard there about Greg diagnosing the biggest offensive play, the most explosive offensive play of the Titan season, and Lucas, how it came within structure of the offense as opposed to Cam Ward just running around scrambling for his life. Tony Pollard, 29 yards.
Yeah, and it's easy for us to take the fourth quarter and just say, okay, copy paste.
Do it again.
Just do that all the time. But circumstances are different, right? Like the circumstances of being in 2 minutes because you're down multiple scores in the fourth quarter are very different. And that can organically put a defense on its heels when you have no choice but to throw the football and all these things. Like there are challenges to overcome. I don't think it's quite that simple of just, okay, well, just do tempo all the time. Just be in your 2 minute offense all the time. The game doesn't always dictate that. And Callahan gave a very, coach's football answer talking about personnel. And I think you asked him about that the other day. And, that does dictate a lot of this. Like they're playing the Raiders this week. So is it really going to be conducive for success to go tempo for 4 quarters against the Las Vegas Raiders, who have struggled to score, who are turning the ball over at a really high rate? Like putting yourself in danger of, just to play devil's advocate to okay, just go fast all the time. That's where Cam's comfortable. Like, is that always what the game calls for? Like, no, it's what it called for in the fourth quarter, and Cam Ward executed it really well. But how do you find that balance of approaching every game based on the opponent and your strengths and weaknesses and what it'll take to win that game, have control of a game, versus being able to execute in those moments and trying to apply the up-tempo stuff, the comfortability of Cam Ward in the 2 minute to a drive in the second quarter?
We can talk more about that later in the show. In fact, we'll circle back to that around 11:45 today. But coming up next, let's talk about Jeffrey Simmons, because for as many things that haven't gone to plan at the start of the Titans season until their most recent win, basically until their most recent quarter of football, Jeffrey Simmons has been excellent the whole way through. So we're going to talk about how realistic it is that Jeff might be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate on a team that doesn't expect to win that many games. I'm Buck Risings, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. So, the Titans are 1-4. Not dead, like Dolly Parton. Not dead yet. Don't know if you saw her post over yesterday, over the course of yesterday, after some genuine concern from America about America's sweetheart. What do you mean, boy, did I?
I saw it. Glad she's doing good. No, I'm glad she's doing good. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm. That's what boy did I means.
I just saw it.
Okay.
Does it mean boy did
What did you see? Yeah, shadows.
I saw her.
No. Time out.
No,
Shadows.
No,
Go.
come on.
Now.
Don't bonk me.
Glad Dolly's okay. So, I mentioned Jeffrey Simmons and the level of play that he is currently bringing to the table. Jeffrey has been excellent through the first 5 weeks of the Titan season. He is currently playing like the best interior defensive lineman in the sport. Pro Football Focus graded him, Pro Football Sporting Network graded him as the top overall defensive tackle in terms of impact metric, greater than DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, Jalen Carter, Malik Collins, and Christian Barmore. He has more pressures than any interior defensive lineman right now. He is playing like one of the best defensive players in the league. The Myles Garrett's, TJ Watt, he is truly at this point, and this weight, stripping down to about 20 pounds lighter. He's more explosive than he's ever been, and he's still strong as hell, and you're seeing the dividends of that play themselves out through these first 5 weeks. Also, he's healthy, which is a huge improvement on last year.
Pop up on the injury report yesterday with the ankle.
Yes.
So we'll keep an eye on that, but there has been nothing to indicate that that's something to be concerned about at this point. But more sacks than any D tackle, like you said, more TFLs than any D tackle, more solo tackles, more pressures than anybody at his position. He is, by basically every number you can put out there, at this point, going into week 6, the best defensive tackle in the 2025 season.
So Brian Callahan brought this up on Sunday, and, I don't know if he was just caught up in the moment or because you don't usually hear coaches campaign, especially on a 1-4 football team, for this guy should be X player of the year, right? Defensive player, offensive player of the year, what have you. But Jeff is actually playing like a legitimate defensive player of the year candidate, and Brian Callahan brought it up in his Sunday post-game comments. So, is it realistic? Like, let's say that the Titans season goes the way that we about expected it to go. I think I picked them to be 5-12 this year. I don't remember, Lucas, if you put any kind of expectations on the season.
I think most people were in line with that sort of
The win total was 5.5. I figured they'd go under. I didn't think the first 4 weeks or the first 5 weeks would look the way that they did, but whatever. They're 1-4. Can Jeffrey Simmons win Defensive Player of the Year on a losing team?
Yeah, that's the question. It's hard to find, for a player at his position, a sample size of, like, when we're talking about a team that has 5 or 6 wins or less, you just go back and they're just not really there. Like Myles Garrett in 2023, that Cleveland team somehow won 11 games. That was the Joe Flacco year. Nick Bosa, 2022 with the 49ers. I understand they don't necessarily play Jeff's position, but let's just say quarterback effectors, right? D tackles, defensive end, guys that are playing along the front. 2021, TJ Watt, certainly the Steelers were not in that kind of category. They were a playoff team. Aaron Donald, none of Aaron Donald's Defensive Player of the Year awards were on a bad Rams team.
Right.
I mean, what is the best example of either side, offensive or defensive player?
On a losing team?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time finding it, and there's not many interior defensive guys that have done it. It's Donald twice on the 2017 and 2018 Rams, and then this is kind of surprising to me. Did Ndamukong Suh never win Defensive Player of the Year?
No.
Yeah, no, I'm not finding it. There's 3 for Watt. There's Terrell Suggs. There's Polamalu. There's a lot of defensive backs. In particular, I mean, you would have to go to find an interior defensive lineman. Joe Green. I mean, it's Joe Green and Aaron Donald.
Watt bobbed and weaved because he won DPOY in 2012, but the Texans were good. I mean, they had a 12-4 record, and then they bottomed out the next year, and they went 2-14.
Luke Kuechly's year.
And then Watt, the Texans bounced back, and so did J.J. Watt, and he won a couple more Defensive Player of the Years on good Texans teams. So you just don't really see it. Don't really see it. On offense, too.
I don't think, like, he can have an all-pro season on a losing team, and that be, I'm sure he's got contract incentives that would benefit him in some way, shape, or form beyond just the accolades of performing well. But it is the level of a player that you could have the discussion of Defensive Player of the Year, but it's not realistic that he could win it.
All-pro feels like a more attainable thing for Jeff by the end of the season.
First team All-Pro,
continues.
which I don't think Jeffrey has. I think he's been a second team.
He's never had a first team
All-Pro in his career. So first team All-Pro would mean something, and it would be...
He has 2 second team, 2021 and 2022.
Validation for how well, what he's done to himself physically and what he's trying to bring on a snap-in, snap-out basis. Now, we can talk more later about whether Jeffrey playing at as good a level as anybody on defense in the NFL right now is giving you, as a fan base, any additional consideration to moving him if things don't go well ahead of the trade deadline. What is it, the first week of November?
November 9th?
November 4th.
4th.
November 4th.
4s and 9s look alike.
First week.
Depending on how you write them.
Whose handwriting are we talking about here?
Definitely mine.
Okay. So you have a month, literally, well, less than a month, just less than a month, to consider moving additional pieces and parts. I would be more in favor. Well, we can talk more about that later. But I think that when you look at a couple of different players here, Duck Falling in the chat is bringing up Cortez Kennedy.
Yeah. Going all the way back to 1992, the Seattle Seahawks. Cortez Kennedy,
Okay.
who is a Hall of Famer, had 14 sacks that season as a defensive tackle.
I mean, Warren Sapp did it. I mean, there's a bunch of examples.
Yeah, and that was a 2-14
1999
Seahawks
who
team.
beat out a rookie curse for that spot.
But again, I mean, it's really those 3 guys. It's Aaron Donald.
What was the worst Rams record
Sapp.
when Donald
Dana
won it?
Stubblefield.
They won like 5 games.
Oh, okay.
I think like his second to last year, maybe third to last year.
Dana Stubblefield for the 49ers in 1997. Keith Millard in 1989. So there are examples of these guys.
But not many.
Yeah, I mean...
Which makes sense.
It's not the flashy position, right? It's always the edge or the cornerbacks or safeties. Somebody that's making flashy plays.
Usually the best players at their respective position are on some of the best teams.
Yeah, for sure. Or at least recognized on some of the best teams. It's easier to pay attention to a guy who's putting up the stats that Jeff is if they're going 12-5.
So Donald, that was
5-12.
What was the year Donald won that the Rams weren't good? Because it wasn't.
I don't know that he won when the Rams weren't good.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the 3.
We're just saying that there have been 4 defensive tackles, Aaron Donald twice, 5 defensive tackles, excuse me, that have won Defensive Player of the Year basically since the merger.
Okay, but the 3 years that Donald won it, the Rams were good. I mean, 11, 13, 12 win type of teams. And all 3 of those, including one where they made it to the Super Bowl.
Now, he was still excellent in the year that I think he might have missed some time the year that they won 5 games. It was what year did the Rams win the Super Bowl?
That was 2021. Yeah, 2021 because they played the Bengals who beat the Titans.
Yeah, so 22 would have been the bad Rams year. 615-737-1045 is the number. We can circle back to some trade talk if you are interested in that later on. But Bobby Petrino has the opportunity to do something this weekend at Neyland Stadium that would be upsetting to a great many Vols fans. We'll talk about the upcoming matchup between the Vols and Arkansas coming up next.
11 o'clock, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The first injury report of the week came out on Wednesday as the Titans prepare to visit the Raiders. Several players did not practice with a rest day, including L'Jarius Sneed and Tyler Lockett. Jeffrey Simmons appeared on the injury report with an ankle. He did not practice. Right tackle J.C. Latham did return in a limited capacity. Meanwhile, Raiders star tight end Brock Bowers did not practice with a knee. Preds, 7 p.m. tonight. It is opening day at Bridgestone Arena. The regular season, they dropped the puck against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And in NFL news, the Jaguars have sent cornerback Tyson Campbell and a 2026 7th to Cleveland in exchange for cornerback Greg Newsome and a 6th-round pick. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour is upon us. The Vols are about to be back upon us after a week off in a survive and advance situation at Mississippi State. They get ready to host Arkansas. At this point in time, the number 12 Tennessee Volunteers, Arkansas sporting a new or interim. He's not new, exactly. He's an interim. Do you think Bobby Petrino refers to himself as the interim head coach, or do you think Bobby Petrino calls himself the head coach?
He is the interim head coach. That is what he is. He,
if you say so,
assuredly wants to be the full-time head coach, and now he gets the chance to win over his peers, his superiors, his athletic director, and Hunter Yurachek at Arkansas. Fired some defensive staffers. They have had the bye week to prepare for this game and get their affairs in order. Tennessee also has had a bye week to get a little bit healthier on the defensive side, but not as healthy as they would like to be. Jermon McCoy was officially ruled out. They didn't even go with questionable yesterday on the availability report. He will not play.
A lot of change. I mean, Bobby Petrino's obviously been around football since he was a head coach, when last he was a head coach, but it's a lot different to do that job in today's environment of college football than it was the last time that he was the head coach in one of these situations. I guess, where are you right now, given what we know about the SEC and that there's carnage, right? You talked about this in your observations yesterday. There's carnage everywhere in the SEC. The teams that we thought were going to rule the roost at the top of the conference have not quite manifested themselves, though Alabama is slowly working their way back into form after getting gut punched in week one. I don't think there's a college football quarterback anywhere playing as well as Ty Simpson.
Yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to find one. They are front and center, once again, a championship contender. They have risen from their week one disaster, in my mind.
So where are you on Tennessee in the middle of all of this carnage? Not quite literally in the middle, but having success, losing to Georgia in a dramatic fashion the way that they did, beating Mississippi State in a dramatic fashion the way that they did, and now getting ready to host a team that you don't see too terribly often, but at least they're coming to your place this time.
Yeah, don't see them often, but also haven't beaten them since 2007. It's just one of the weirdest stats for Tennessee football. Tennessee's also seen multiple iterations of Bobby Petrino. Like, he had success against Tennessee during the tail end of his time at Arkansas. It coincided with pretty much the early stages of Tennessee's long decade plus of dysfunction in the Derek Dooley years then. But Tennessee saw Bobby Petrino when he was the head coach at WKU. They saw Bobby Petrino just 2 years ago when he was the offensive coordinator for Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M in what was a very defensive field position type of game in 2023. Tennessee won that game 20-13 against the Aggies. But, yeah, it's so easy to sit here and map out the path to the college football playoff. And we do it every week, right? After every game, you survive and advance, and then you reset. Okay, given what Tennessee has shown and what its opponents have shown, what is the path to the college football playoff? And it remains, after a loss to Georgia and after escaping Starkville with a win, one of two scenarios, in my mind, for you to get in. You sweep your home slate, which would mean beating Arkansas. It would mean beating Oklahoma. And you get one of...
And Vandy.
And Vandy, yes.
Respectful.
You're right. Should not be disrespecting the Commodores.
Overlooking rivalry week, are we?
And nope, you're absolutely right. Bad job by me. Sweeping your home slate and winning one of at Alabama or at Florida, two places you have not won at in about 2 decades. So that's one scenario. The other is you slip up once at home, whether it's against Oklahoma or Vanderbilt or Arkansas or anybody, and you sweep Alabama and Florida on the road. Kentucky really, at this point in time, is the only game that I'm looking at on Tennessee's SEC slate and saying, okay, all right, you're good there. But far be it for me to go ahead and do that, even though Kentucky looks lifeless. I would not have expected Tennessee to go to Arkansas and lose last year, and they did. So any given Saturday, as we know, but the focus is right here, right now, on a Tennessee offense and an Arkansas offense that have been among the best in the SEC. They are top 5 in points per game in the conference, top 5 in passing yards per game, in total yards per game. Tennessee's not running the football with the type of numbers that we've grown accustomed to in the Heupel era. They're 6th in the SEC, averaging 199 yards per game. Arkansas, the number 2 rushing attack in the SEC, and that is in large part because of Taylon Green, the quarterback there, the Boise State transfer, who is having an excellent year. Can you name the number 1 rushing team in the SEC?
I cannot.
Mizzou. I would not have having quite Mizzou. The year running the football. That obviously is tested against Bama this weekend. 5-0 Mizzou. But yeah, it's just it's one of those games that just kind of it's a little spicy.
Well,
Arkansas with that offense, fired coach, but it's Bobby Petrino and all those vibes and Taylon Green.
Okay, but what are the vibes? Like the vibes other than there's probably some message board chatter in Fayetteville and everywhere else that there are Arkansas fans about, I don't want him to be the head coach, but something about it feels right, feels normal. Maybe it doesn't end up being the best long-term idea, but right now, I don't know. It's kind of risky. It's kind of fun. Beyond that, explain to me in more educated college football terms why things are going to be different under Bobby Petrino than they were under Sam Pittman. I mean, he's still calling the offense.
He's still calling the offense.
The offense is still good. The defense is still not.
Yeah, we haven't seen Bobby Petrino be a head coach since he was let go at Louisville. You're right. There's other than his resume, which is impressive. Arkansas, let's not forget how good Arkansas was in those years, man. They were pretty consistently a top 5 program under Bobby Petrino. That's obviously in the BCS era. If the 12-team college football playoff was a thing back then, Arkansas routinely would be in that playoff with Ryan Mallett, rest in peace, right? Was it Tyler Wilson, the quarterback that succeeded Ryan Mallett? They were a juggernaut offensively. And if you're talking about upset scenarios in this game, it's that Arkansas just comes in and kind of has their way with Tennessee's defense that is still down its top 2 corners, even though they're having their depth play really well there. Colton Hood might be playing himself into a day 1, day 2 draft pick at this point, the Colorado transfer. But it would be that Arkansas comes in and they have that interim coach boost and they just outscore you at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee needs to be able to just outscore Arkansas offensively in this game. They're going to give up some big plays. They're going to give up points, but they're also going to have an advantage up front. Their offensive line, Tennessee's, is going to absolutely have an advantage against an Arkansas defensive line that has been just pushed around a little bit this year. And we saw that. We talked about the glaring indictment that was that Memphis game. To have a chance to get the ball back, 3rd and 8, Memphis, all you got to do is get a stop. You get the ball back with a minute left to try and find a game-winning field goal, and they run the ball on 3rd and 8 and push the pile on you to win, get the first down, and milk the clock. Embarrassing. So Tennessee has got to be able to completely control this game at the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. It's probably the best. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything there is to know about Notre Dame's defensive front, but they should have that advantage. They should unequivocally have the advantage up front against that Arkansas offensive line that hasn't been as good as you typically expect the Sam Pittman offensive line to be year in and year out. And obviously him being fired is a big part of that.
They're 116th, or they're tied for 116th with 4 other programs. Florida in turnover margin. Florida, Florida State, Oregon State, and Air Force at this point all have the same turnover margin as Arkansas does. They've had 8 giveaways specifically in their last 4 games. So that's something that if it manifests, Tennessee obviously has to be able to capitalize on. Hell, it could be the thing that allows Tennessee to cover because the line right now is 12.5.
12.5, yes. And we mentioned the over-under is high. Last I checked, it was 68.5. Yes. If Tennessee...
The Vegas isn't getting got, again, with Tennessee the way that many of us got Vegas on that Tennessee-Georgia game.
Yeah, and remember, this was a very low-scoring game. This was the first of those scoreless first halves for Tennessee last year.
Disgusting.
It was a very frustrating game down there in Fayetteville. Obviously, Nico did not play well in that game, and that was the running out of bounds with zeros on the clock game. If Tennessee can just run the ball at will, it's hard to imagine Arkansas finding a way to get off the field defensively. They're dead last at stopping the run in the SEC. They're giving up 168 rush yards per game. And they haven't faced, they've faced some good offenses. They faced Jeremiah Love, faced Ole Miss. So their schedule has not been terribly favorable. But with the home field advantage that Tennessee has had in the Heupel era, again, Georgia's the only team to win in that building against Tennessee since Josh Heupel, or since the 2022 season started under Josh Heupel.
One of us on the show has a big football game tonight.
Yes.
He's not paying attention.
Oh, I'm paying attention. I'm just trying not to get excited for anything in sports revolving me. But yes.
The guttural scream, maybe not quite scream, but growl that you let out about maybe one of your teams will win something one time this year, hoping that East Carolina is able to handle the mighty Tulane Green Wave. 4-1 Tulane is where East Carolina is playing at this evening.
Down in NOLA.
How are we feeling?
Tulane 6.5-point favorites.
It should be a fun game either way. Tulane has always whooped East Carolina's ass, especially on the road down there. It's a great environment. And I didn't like that ECU put out that they were like, oh, we're going to Cafe Du Monde. We're going to like all of these New Orleans spots. It's like they are going to Michael Jordan flu game you. They are going to feed you a bad pizza. And you're going to have to claim like, oh, Caden Hauser can't play because he got food poisoning from a shrimp po' boy. You can't eat their food. You got to wait. You got to wait.
You got to travel with your own food.
That's what I'm saying.
The whole city of New Orleans is conspiring against Tulane's opponent that particular week.
Now, in fairness, having been to New Orleans several times in my life, you just generally run the risk of getting gout by shellfish.
Mine's usually gout. But
gout.
But you were talking
Too
about
much red meat.
You were talking about
beer.
turnover margin with Arkansas. The turnover margin for Tulane is +7, so they are giving the ball away. So I'm hoping that there will be a chance that East Carolina can take the ball away and capitalize. I will not be betting on this game as my car was broken into, and I have nothing of monetary value to put up as a wager.
We are in glorious times, by the way. Dixie points out in the F&M Bang chat, yesterday was the start of 49 straight days with some sort of football.
Yeah, and did you see how it started?
MTSU.
Lost.
Yeah.
To Missouri State. People in Murfreesboro cannot be happy with that. I mean, I know MTSU is not supposed to be a world beater, and we don't claim to have an advanced level of knowledge about what MTSU's situation is because we don't talk about them ever.
Yeah, they're 1-5. Got off to a nice start in this game, but ultimately were outlasted by Missouri State. Yeah, it's hard to imagine Derek Mason being the head coach there beyond this season.
Why did they get rid of Rick Stockstill? Is that a dumb question? Like, I feel like they were all, they're not achieving at the highest level, but they were good for one big upset every year, it felt like, and at least they were competent.
I will not pretend to know the ins and outs of that program and why they've done what they've done, but yeah, it has not been pretty.
22-20 is what Delaney Walker's Missouri State Bears. I thought they were, are we sure Delaney Walker went to Missouri State? I thought they were like the Mules or something like that.
Yeah, he played for Willie Fritz there, who's now the head coach at Houston, former Tulane head coach.
Okay. Did they have a mascot change? Maybe there's another Missouri directional school with a mule mascot.
Do I need to make are you guys familiar with 40 Bowls in 14 Days? The song I made for bowl season?
What do you mean, are we familiar?
You're going to have to hear it.
Well, no, Buck doesn't listen, so I didn't know. I know you
do
know.
Do you want to remind the
only
audience?
My favorite bit that I think you've ever done.
Is it your favorite?
I think it's my favorite.
I would need to find the imaging, but I'm wondering if I need to edit it and make it 48 games in 48 days.
Ooh.
48 games!
Well, it's a lot more than 48 games.
48 days!
It's hundreds of games.
Hundreds of games! Let me see if I can find it. We can play it next segment.
Okay, I just wanted to remind people what's wrong.
I was wrong. He went to Central Missouri.
I was going to say, I don't think Delaney Walker went to Missouri State.
feel like an idiot.
Are they the Mules? Was I right?
Central Missouri are the Mules.
Yeah.
Yes. Shout out to Ann, who pointed that out. Thank you, Ann, for calling me out.
Look at that. The rare college football win for me.
Okay, hold on.
But I was right about Willie Fritz. He was Delaney's head coach at Central Missouri, not Missouri State.
The chat can't hear, that's right.
In 14 days.
I turned it on for him.
40 bowls. In 14 days.
It's so good. It's your most well executed in terms of the pitch, just the vocals of it all.
Again, you are just good enough to be a bad singer.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I mean, generally my entire life, that's been anything I've ever tried. Like, I am just good enough to be a bad producer. I am just good enough to be a bad professional wrestling referee. I am just good enough to be a bad college student. Like, I did just enough to graduate. Did just enough to get a job. Did just enough to piss off Jeff Jarrett one time. I'm always right
What'd
on the
you do
cusp.
to Jeff Jarrett?
No, I'm not telling. I've told enough stories today.
No. We're here now.
No, it happened.
I've got 4 more minutes before I have to go to break.
It happened when I first started working here.
What'd you do?
It was Ric
With
Flair's.
us?
No, it was Ric Flair's final match. I said he looked like a beat up sweet potato, and some people got upset about it.
He did look like a beat up sweet potato.
Well,
he currently looks like a beat up sweet potato.
sometimes the truth hurts, but we love you, Rick. Glad you made me tell that.
615-737-1045. If the Titans continue to lose, would you hold on to some assets or would you start selling parts? We can talk about it next. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you like they've helped so many guys over the course of the last decade plus. Because if you're dealing with ED, whether it's mild or moderate, or even things like Peyronie's disease, they will find you a treatment path that makes the most sense for you. No one size fits all, no cookie cutter solutions that are on offer. It is a matter of finding the treatment that makes the most sense for you. And that is something that the Tennessee Men's Clinic is going to continue to strive towards to make sure that you can get back to peak performance. In fact, it may be a variety of different treatments, a combination of those treatments that gets you back to that optimal performance, gets you feeling back like yourself again. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has multiple locations for you to seek out those treatment plans, or you can call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090, or visit them online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com today. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. So would you hold or would you sell? Obviously, we don't have enough information to make any decisions about what we would like the Titans to do from a personnel standpoint ahead of the trade deadline on November the 4th. They do have the opportunity to win back-to-back games. Would things feel for them appreciably different at 2-4 than 1-5? I think you could argue that the whole goal of this season was, if you're in the hunt, if you happen to be in the hunt graphic at any point this year, that would be a significant improvement on just being terrible the whole way through, like they were in 2024. The vibes were bad at the start. I don't know that Arizona completely alleviates the problems that they have. In fact, I know that it doesn't alleviate all of the problems that they have. But if you can incrementally grow throughout the course of the season and turn it into a, 5 or 6 win season at the end of it, that would be a step in the right direction, as we all talked about all offseason long. But let's just assume that they don't break through that 5-win window, and we're looking at the deadline, and they may have 2 wins by the time we get to November 4th. What would be the most tradable asset on the Titans roster not named Jeffrey Simmons? It'd be anybody basically in a contract year.
Yeah, you could go a couple ways. McCreary comes to mind. They just extended Amani Hooker.
Mm-hmm. Chigakonkwo will be an unrestricted free agent.
Chig comes to mind.
Arden Key is in the last year of his deal.
Sebastian Joseph Day.
Mm-hmm. Did he sign a 2-year or a 1-year?
Either way, I don't think it would make a big difference about acquiring him because his salary isn't that large. But I can double check his contract situation.
I want to say it was a 1-year, but you'll correct me if I'm wrong on that, Robert. And he's a good enough player that a team who's dealing with injuries that wouldn't have to give up huge draft capital to get him would you rather trade a first for Jeff or a 7th for Sebastian Joseph Day?
Yeah.
He signed a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. So if he's acquired at the deadline, it'll be about roughly half of that.
Okay. So McCreary is probably the next answer, right?
Yeah, especially having seen already the shipping off of Jarvis Brownlee Jr. I do think that sends some sort of message, right? If there's nothing to indicate that the player was a problem.
Even if they didn't mean to.
And even if it's not intentional. Like, if the player was not a problem and there is not a shred of evidence to say that he was any sort of issue.
There's not.
And if you don't get anything in return, pretty much, you literally get less than what you invested in him only 2 years ago, then
Bengals got more for Browns got more for Joe Flacco than the Titans did for Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Offensive.
So, yeah, that is a starting quarterback. I mean, I understand it's Joe Flacco.
40 years old.
But that's desperation for a starting quarterback. I feel like it's just apples and oranges. But anyway.
Same thing with the Colts trading for Carson Wentz. Like, they gave up a first-round pick for that guy. And sight unseen, you could understand it then. Or the Eagles trading a first-round pick for Sam Bradford. If you need a quarterback, it makes people do dumb things.
Yeah, I think that speaks more to the Bengals' desperation than anything else. But anyway. Yeah, obviously it sends a message. Of course it sends some sort of message. Okay, what's the common denominator here? Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was not brought into this organization by at least the current general manager and the current president of football operations in his role that he currently holds. So, obviously, I mean, it's only natural to start to look at, okay, who else could this apply to? Devondre Sweat? I don't know. I mean, he's injured. So that maybe puts a pin in that entire conversation. He might not be healthy by the time the trade deadline rolls around. We have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what the timeline is for Sweat. I don't think if Sweat, let's say Sweat is healthy before the trade deadline, I don't know that you should rule it out. Maybe and maybe not even this year. It could be a situation where they're looking around offseason or something like that. I don't know that it has to be before the trade deadline for all of these things, right? But Sweat is, and I know that probably sounds, again, offensive to Titans fans, but they just did it to Brownlee. And I know Sweat is a higher level, higher ceiling player than Jarvis Brownlee is. But anybody who came in with any level of concerns and was drafted by an administration that is now fired and went out of their way to do additional vetting, fair game. You can disagree with that if you want. I would disagree with that. I would say it's more incumbent upon the organization to get things right around the talented player, but whatever.
Pollard, Jason says in the F&M Bank chat.
Expensive running back.
It is. He is slightly expensive.
I'm like proposition value proposition here for the different players. Like I think Ridley, even though he has not been consistent, would be more valuable to a team than Tony Pollard, who's just getting the crap knocked out of him in Tennessee right now because he's getting volume work as they ramp Tajay Spears back up.
I understand that trading Brownlee didn't make any sense. It was hard to make sense of that. So maybe this is a flawed exercise. This is flawed logic by me, but it also makes even less sense now to talk about moving Roger McCreary, right? Your cornerback room.
Sam Womack, come on down.
Right, I guess so.
I mean, and if you're going to lose him anyway at the end of the year, or they have no interest in re-signing him at the end of the year, you might as well get your shekel while you can.
Yeah, I guess you could look at that one of two ways, right? Either clearly they like McCreary and, this kind of raises his stock a little bit, or they are in that mode. And, to Robert's point, if you have no intention to sign him to a second contract, then you might as well move him. But then, again, that's yet another young, productive corner that you would just be shipping off. So it's hard for me to imagine that happening.
And, adjacent to that with the Tony Pollard trade, if you look at the trades that have happened this year for running backs, so Brian Robinson Jr., a competent running back who's on a cheap deal, about to be a free agent, he was traded to the 49ers for a 6th-round pick. So Pollard, who's on a more expensive contract, I think he is worth more to the Titans and helping the run game, helping Cam Ward see the field a little bit better than would be to ship him off for pennies on the dollar.
McCreary played only 37 defensive snaps in Arizona. It's not the season low for McCreary. He played only 34 in week 1. But he played 57 against Houston, 35 against Indy, and 46 against the Rams. So it's been a bit scattershot as far as his snap count goes. And again, it depends on the opponent, I'm sure. It depends on the defensive deployment. But we did see a lot more, we've seen a lot more Quandre Diggs on the field than I really thought that they would use this year. But they seem to be comfortable with those 3 safety looks with Quandre Diggs, Amani Hooker, and Xavier Woods. Kevin Winston Jr. is also factoring into this now as they ramp him up. Got his first game action on Sunday, primarily special teams.
Yeah, pretty much just special teams.
But the plan is to ramp him up defensively. We talked to him in the locker room yesterday as well. We usually talk to Jeff Simmons, by the way, on Wednesday. He didn't practice yesterday, so if Jeff is full go today or even limited today, Jeff would speak today.
And Jeff is probably front and center if we're to have this discussion. If you are to hold or sell, the discussion about potential selling has to be centered around your most valuable asset, which is Jeffrey Simmons.
Don't do it. I'm sure there's going to be good offers out there. Don't trade Jeff. Cam Ward is obviously the future of the franchise, but he needs support, a good defense. A guy like that is a great foundation for a support system. Jeff, there's no attitude stuff. There's no concerns about work ethic. It's not a, I'm not saying that Sweat doesn't work hard enough, but I do think that there is a difference in the way that Jeff works versus the way that Sweat works.
He's the biggest leader they have, right? He's
certainly the loudest.
But by all accounts, Jeffrey Simmons has been their most consistent on and off the field, from a production standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, from an accountability standpoint.
I don't think they would say that in previous years.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about previous years.
Yeah, this year for sure.
Yeah. And while you're trying to build something, how valuable is that versus the capital that you could get back for him, which would be substantial?
Could even turn into Jeffrey Simmons. Right, that's the whole joke.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. But
it's
the Titans
that first round pick could be so good it could even be a Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, but also, how far away do we consider the Titans to be?
I don't know. You can flip teams. We've seen teams do it in 2 years. Like, I don't want to do this whole thing where I'm like, okay, but they're in a rebuild, so give them, just give them a little more time. No, enough of this. All right, it's been 3 years of just dreadful football. I don't care if the administration has changed. A lot of the pieces and parts are still here from those administrations. Get it right. Like, now the pressure is on the people who are making the decisions to try and dig them out of the hole that John Robinson put them in. They haven't done a sufficient enough job digging themselves out of that hole. So you can think that's unfair. Frankly, I don't care at this point. They have to start fielding a winning product. Jeffrey Simmons is a critical part to fielding a winning product.
Yeah, I feel like nothing would... You couldn't take a bigger hit to the locker room, to the foundation, whatever cultural foundation they have. Nothing would take a wrecking ball to that more than trading away Jeffrey Simmons, right?
Oh yeah, you would immediately send the message to the locker room, intentionally or unintentionally, that it's every man for himself.
Yeah,
that would be a complete mercenary situation.
He's 28. Like,
it's not like he's long in a tooth. He's not Jarrell Casey at the end of his career dealing with a neck injury. He's prime. This is the best version of Jeff you've ever seen.
Yeah, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. Like,
he is in the best shape of his life.
And we're seeing guys. I mean, Chris Jones is 31 years old, right? Like, we see guys at that position, especially as athletic as Jeffrey Simmons. Like, he's not Albert Hainsworth out there, right? Like, he's like a slimmer Albert Hainsworth. Jeffrey Simmons feels like the type of player that could be a dominant player at his position into his early 30s. Like, at the age of 31, I feel like we could be talking about Jeffrey Simmons at a Pro Bowl level, which means another 3 more seasons on top of what we're seeing in 2025.
Jack on YouTube says Jeff Simmons is a waste on a bad defense, or I guess he means is being wasted on a bad defense. But the defense isn't bad. Like, again, you guys, if you are blowing up, the defense isn't great. They're not the best defense in football, but they're not bad. You are microanalyzing the defense because your offense can't score. That's the thing. Your defense... Jack is also on YouTube, one of the comment section where you can interact with the show, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can call us 615-737-1045 if you have thoughts on this. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins can put up 40 points a game. But if they have a defense so bad that the opponent scores 45 on them and they lose and they go out and they finish 8-9 and they miss an opportunity to be in the postseason, then what good was that high-powered offense? You need balance. You can't just completely lopside your football team and expect to have success. I don't care how much you think that for example, trading Jeff for a first-round pick and a wide receiver with promise or a wide receiver on a rookie contract, whatever, because that's being asked or talked about in the chat by at least one commenter. That's not a successful formula. Bo Nix has a chance because he has an ungodly defense. Philadelphia got all the chances in the world because they could win on both sides of the ball in the trenches. Patrick Mahomes, when the Chiefs' offense has been constipated, gets more opportunities because he has an elite defense on the other side. Like, the defense is the cheat code to support your quarterback. It doesn't just have to be offensive lineman, wide receiver, and things like that. You have to have as close to a complete team as humanly possible. Jeff Simmons is a cheat code. Don't go trading away. You just did this not that long ago with A.J. Brown. Don't do it again.
Well, I agree with you, but I don't think that's the way to push back is, well, Pat Mahomes has a great defense, because I think if people are arguing to trade Jeff, then they are arguing that you're not going to get the Jeffrey Simmons that you're getting now when you reach that point in your timeline where you're going to be competitive.
Why can't it be
Cam
next
Ward
year if he's 29? Like, be competitive next year. No, I'm not letting them off the hook and just waving the white flag for 2026 too. That's garbage. It has to stop. That's the whole Cam Ward thing. Raise the standard. Go out there and perform. Act like a professional football team. For God's sakes.
And it's not like Jeffrey Simmons' contract is hindering them in any way. He's not the highest paid defensive tackle. In most ways, he is in the top 5, but it's still very comparable to the talent he is providing them. So this year, if you were looking at 2025 solely for where Jeff places as his cap hit, he would be behind 1, 2, 3, 4. He would be the 5th highest cap hit and $100 million or $1 million behind the next closest, Chris Jones. So he's being paid comparably, but it's not like they're handicapped by his contract. It's not like, oh, we have to get rid of this contract so we can build around Cam Ward, or what other excuse you would use of we have money tied up in Jeff.
He's going to get paid at some point, though. He hired a new agent.
And basically his
So that contract
guaranteed
is
money
coming.
is starting to end up. So they will have to renew this contract. And you saw them kind of get ahead of it a little bit in the offseason when he got that rebuff of the additional game salary for the years that have already passed and coming up.
615-737-1045 is the number. John is up next.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. As I mentioned to your partner in there, that I don't think we have enough sense to know who to let go and who not to let go based on look at our record. And it's not just players. If we're going to say, I totally disagree with that caller that said get rid of Jeff Simmons. That's idiotic, just like you pointed out about the A.J. Brown. I don't think we're smart enough to know who to let go and who not to let go. Then if you do let go of Simmons, you get these others, and how do you know that they're going to be a good leader in the locker room? You don't. We do know with Jeff Simmons. So I don't know what the answer is, guys, but it's definitely not just go ahead and trade.
I appreciate the call.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think Mike Borgonzi, I don't know what Mike Borgonzi is going to be as a football executive for this organization. Just like I didn't know what kind of corner L'Jarius Sneed was going to be going from the Chiefs to the Titans. Sneed's playing better. Borgonzi just got here, so I'm not going to hold him, accountable for sins of the franchise past. I do think that if you're going to allow any part of this more time to develop, it would be the front office structure to kind of execute the plan that they see and have set out in front of them with the regeneration of draft capital and just trying to take as many hacks at this thing as they possibly can. But I mean, if you're talking organizationally, like from the top on down, yeah, the Titans obviously haven't done a very good job. Okay. Coming up next, Cam Ward is looking to build off his fourth quarter performance in Arizona. Brian Callahan spoke about Cam Ward's fourth quarter. We'll play it for you coming up next. There's few things worse than not having financial peace of mind or financial independence. If you understand that, if you've been through that before, you understand how much stress it can bring into your life, into your family's lives, and you want to make sure that you can find the right people to put them in place to help you achieve your financial goals. Occurrences like inflation, changing economic policies, new laws, and interest rates can affect the financial markets in the short term, but it doesn't make sense to keep changing the way that you invest in response to daily news items. Instead, Trajan Wealth will help you review your strategy and make sure that it's right for your goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon. Trajan Wealth is there to help you decide what to do. There's all manner of different ways that they can help you as well, whether it is that wealth management strategy or retirement planning or tactical investments that can get you a higher yield on your return. Trajan Wealth has so many different options to help you, just like they've helped so many other clients. They're here in Middle Tennessee, 2 locations, Brentwood and Franklin. You can call them at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Cam Ward looking to ride a bit of a hot streak, looking to have his first hot streak as an NFL quarterback. Looked pretty good there in the fourth quarter after struggling for, you might argue 3.5 quarters of football before the Cardinals finally put them in a position where they could really capitalize. Longest touchdown drive of the year in the fourth quarter, almost 200 yards passing alone in the fourth quarter. He looked the part of number 1 overall pick and finally got the help that their offseason acquisitions of the past 2 seasons have allowed him to have. Calvin Ridley showed up for the first time meaningfully in a game. Dan Moore in the offensive line unit held up reasonably well, including Oliudo, who's been filling in for the injured J.C. Latham, who spoke to us yesterday, Lucas, and you could tell that he was very aware that he gave up too much information the last time he spoke when he said he wasn't going to play against the Rams because he was very, very tight-lipped. But for Latham, whenever he gets back out there, did practice for the first time yesterday in a month, it will be a benefit to them. It may take some time. There may be a learning curve given that he's missed a bit of time here, but that's fine. Like J.C. Latham would obviously be an upgrade, and you can start to trend some things in the right direction. But how do you recreate what Cam Ward did almost exclusively in the fourth quarter over the course of a consistent 4 quarters of football? Brian Callahan was asked about this yesterday, about specifically Cam Ward's fourth quarter performance in Arizona, and this is what the head coach had to say. Oh, you weren't ready.
God, I wish you could see this screen.
Oh, is it buffering?
I am ready. No, it says... Hold on.
You performatively clicking things doesn't...
I'm telling you, I'm playing.
Look at him showing us.
Audition has encountered an error reading or writing the disc. We recommend you save your work and restart Audition. So.
Oh, no. Okay. Lucas, your thoughts?
No, it would be very involved for him to go so out of his way.
Yeah, I knew I had to get it to come back up again or else, because every producer's like, oh, it's buffering. Like, it never
You know how many times Lucas used to do that to me when he was just not paying attention?
Oh, yeah, I lied about that all the time.
Dude, I mean, it is a great lie because it's like saying you have a headache. Like, no one can prove it.
Yeah, it is.
Well, why don't I take a phone call while you restart on
I think it shows that what he's capable of. Every game is always different. There's always different opportunities, and one fourth quarter performance doesn't guarantee another or anything like that. But to see him go out and perform, like I said the other day, be at your best when your best is required, that was really positive. That's a great step. That's a big moment, I think, for his development as a young player. And now the key is going to be to get it. How do we do that from the start of the game? How do we play with that sort of efficiency and that sort of precision from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, and see what we look like then. But really happy for what he's shown and grown with, and to see that moment, a big moment with the deck stacked against you, to come through and play well at the end of the game was really encouraging step in the right direction.
Cam Ward was 8 of 21 for 72 yards through 3 quarters. He was 13 of 18 for 193 yards the rest of the way, including those completions of 47 and 38 to Calvin on those scoring drives.
And you heard Cosell talk about the 47-yard completion where it wasn't a Cam Ward scramble drill, hey, somebody came open, so I'm just going to rip it. What made that such a unique Cam Ward play is that he threw to Calvin Ridley, and Greg articulated it. You can hear the full breakdown on the install today, and Cosell will also be on 3HL later this afternoon. I'm sure they'll ask him about it if you need to. If you would rather hear it there, either way, we've got Cosell in spades for you. But what Cosell said is that on the concept that the scheme presented him on that 47-yard completion, Cam Ward did what 99.99% of quarterbacks will not do, is he threw the deep ball as opposed to just hitting the guy underneath on the dig route. So you saw Budda Baker make the correct read on what the concept was and go to handle the play. I can't remember who specifically had the dig route there, but Cam opted to make a just God-tier throw and hit Ridley in stride to allow him to set up that situation. That's not something you'll see every quarterback do. That's the kind of thing that differentiates him from your average 80% of other quarterbacks.
And kind of under the radar from that was the drop in the bucket he had to Helm to set up the Pollard touchdown. The touchdown on the drive that followed the DeMercado fumble that really prompted the comeback. Like, that was just over the top. Helm covered. Couldn't have put it in a better spot down near the 1 yard line. Titans able to punch it in for a touchdown. So all of the accuracy stuff that, he was kind of misfiring on in the first 3 quarters, it's hard to imagine Cam Ward being any better than what he was in the fourth quarter. Obviously, he had the interception, came on a tipped ball, and the Titans somehow came out of it with a touchdown. But those are the moments that it doesn't get much more encouraging than that from your rookie quarterback, right?
Well,
the fourth quarter, team on your back kind of moments from a rookie number 1 overall draft pick.
Yeah, but it's not. That's their whole thing. It's not team on his back thing. They're what Callahan's whole thing was throughout the course of that was, hey, man, it's there for you. You just you can't keep extending these plays. Just take what's there in front of you. I promise it's there for you. So it's him not having to do as much heavy lifting. And yeah, the talent can take over and he can make a spectacular play. But what did you say on Monday or Tuesday? That you were more impressed with the drive at the end that didn't result necessarily in a touchdown because Cam Ward was, what was your word? Your SAT
Matriculating.
Word? Matriculating.
Yeah, it was the drive that ended up resulting in the interception that was recovered by Lockett. It was the 61-yard drive, 8 plays, 61 yards.
It's almost a different version of, and this is reductive to say keep it simple, stupid, but there are, because I wouldn't allege that Cam Ward is stupid. That's not what I'm saying. But you get what I mean in that he wasn't seeing things clearly, and there were things to be taken advantage of in the offense. And then whatever cliche you want to use, the switch flipped, and all of a sudden he's seeing things much clearer. He's getting adequate protection, which is a huge part of that as well. And the offense is allowing him to operate. That's the thing that people... Cosell brought this up on the podcast, and I invite you to go listen to this because this specifically applies to a conversation that Lucas and I have had God knows how many times about you have to go out and get your guy. You have to go out and get your quarterback. What Cosell will tell you is that about 80% of the quarterbacks in the league are the same guy or really right around the same level of player. And it's how much they work within the scheme and how much the scheme works around them that will differentiate the guys who have the high level of success. And then you can let the talent show up in moments where you just need a spectacular play, but the rest of it should be pretty routine. It's just Mac Jones. Is Mac Jones significantly better just because he had an excellent game on Thursday Night Football than all these other quarterbacks, than Mac Jones was different before?
Than Brock Purdy.
Than Brock Purdy, right? Brock Purdy, Mac Jones. Shanahan is obviously an extreme level of scheme wins type of situation, but the whole point of having, or the advantage of having an excellent coach, specifically on offense, is how much can you ease the degree of difficulty on your wide receivers creating separation, on your quarterbacks just having clear and obvious reads to where it should be a routine throw for 80% of quarterbacks in the NFL. The marriage of scheme and player is what we're looking to take hold here, and we haven't quite seen that be seamless.
But could the Titans also be doing a better job of giving Cam Ward those easy outs?
I don't think we're using matriculating right.
What?
Urban Dictionary right now.
To be enrolled at a college or university or to record and then arms in an official registry. So your family's coat of arms. The arms have been matriculated by the Lord Lion King of Arms of Edinburgh. So I don't think matriculating is the word that we think it is. Just before we keep using it incorrectly.
Well,
I meant to bring this up previously, but
I'm glad that you brought this to the attention of the 8th grade spelling bee champion.
He can spell it, but
he doesn't know how to use it.
See,
can you spell it? Spell matriculate right now.
He's
now
looking
this
at
is interesting. It doesn't have a widespread slang meaning. It is figurative. It is a figurative slang-like use applied to American football commentary.
Shut up.
Where it means to advance or move the ball methodically down the field towards the end zone, a usage popularized by Kansas City coach Hank Stram in the 1970s.
That's not true.
Outside of this specific football context, matriculate retains its traditional formal meaning to enroll as a student in a college or university. That's insane. Merriam-Webster has that. So because a Chiefs coach in the 70s used
Oh, that's true. Holy crap.
Because a Chiefs coach in the 70s used it as a word to describe moving down the field on a long drive, the entire football world took it and ran with it. Like it sounds like it, right?
It sounds right.
It sounds so right.
To matriculate down the field sounds right.
Wow, Hank Stram, moving mountains with his words.
I thought that was all an ad-lib lie.
Oh, no, I thought he was acting like he was reading when really it's just different pictures of pasta in front of him.
That would be very impressive.
Like, you sold it well.
That's why I was laughing. I was like, oh, he's lying. This is a
real,
lie.
man. Hank Stram.
Wow. Why would that not show up? Why would that not show up when I Google it?
Because it's not actually in the definition. Because we've co-opted it for football purposes, and because we are sheep, we'll just follow something that somebody said that sounds right.
Been doing it for generations in the NFL.
Well, speaking of generations, Bill Belichick has been in football for generations, and he is making an absolute mess of his legacy. We will tell you what's going on with the North Carolina coach, the current North Carolina coach. For how much longer? Find out next.
12:02, good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The first injury report of the week came out on Wednesday. The Titans preparing to visit the Raiders. Several players did not practice with a rest day. That includes L'Jarius Sneed and Tyler Lockett. Jeffrey Simmons appeared on the report with an ankle. He did not practice, but right tackle J.C. Latham did return in a limited capacity. Meanwhile, Raiders star tight end Brock Bowers did not practice with a knee injury. It is opening day for the Nashville Predators. The season opener at Bridgestone Arena tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Puck drop at 7 p.m. In NFL news, the Jags have sent cornerback Tyson Campbell and a 2026 seventh-rounder to Cleveland in exchange for cornerback Greg Newsome and a sixth-round pick. Thursday Night Football tonight is in the NFC East. The Giants host the Eagles. Kickoff at 7:15. You can hear the Westwood One call right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
When North Carolina hired Bill Belichick, they treated it, and a lot of people treated it, like North Carolina was really going to take their football program seriously. But ever since then, and certainly when the actual football started this season, for a brief moment, Bill Belichick and North Carolina, on that first drive, they looked like they got it right. And then they were promptly shelled by TCU in their season opener. And everything, every day almost, with this particular football program feels like a bit of an unraveling and a coach whose legacy is falling apart at the seams. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Robert, Lucas, and me with you until 1 o'clock. 615-737-1045 is the number. We are what, about 11 months removed from the hiring of Bill Belichick at this point in time? And or at least where those conversations started. I believe, no, it wasn't quite 11 months. I feel like we were at Toy Field when that story first started to come out. Toy Field, big news day. Always big news day at Toy Field.
Yeah, and I feel like the same guy that did a lot of that reporting is doing a lot of the reporting now, Ollie Connolly.
Yeah, it's a really good podcast that he does with our buddy John Ledyard, the Read Optional podcast. I guess Ollie has good North Carolina sources, even though he is based in the United Kingdom, ironically enough.
No, he's not. That is a different person named Ollie.
What do you mean?
There is a fella by the name, a chap, if you will, by the name of Oliver Hodgkinson, if I'm not mistaken, that does like draft coverage, who is British and based in the UK. He's been on the station before.
Ollie Connolly is also British.
Is he really?
Yes. I know. I listened to him and Ledyard's podcast.
Wow.
You don't think he's faking it like Lucas?
Oh, what, like Lucas being fake Brazilian?
He's like, cheerio, chaps, here we... You don't think he's just moving along?
He's actually from Pulaski.
Right. You know, I tend to think people with accents that sound mellifluous.
That's not a real word.
Look at you.
It is. It is sweet sounding and pleasing to the ear. Her voice was mellifluous. It makes
if
the
that
sound.
is the word, then I think you're pronouncing it incorrectly. Surely that's not the way that word is said.
Well, it is now.
Well,
the only thing that
we're going to Hank Stram the vocabulary. We're going to hold it hostage.
Yes. I think this eventually, once we start this, will become ubiquitous around the world. You know, present and found everywhere,
Is this what
widespread.
You all feel like when I talk, just pretentious and annoyed?
Well, usually you provide something that sounds a little resplendent. Or non-resplendent, actually, because resplendent would be dazzlingly impressive or beautiful, and that is not your...
You can't just put non in front of a word and make it the opposite. That's not how that works.
I'd rather have you not discourage my good name, my opulent name around the community.
Is discourage the word you thought was an SAT word there?
No, opulent was luxurious and grand in appearance. I don't appreciate your nefarious plan, wicked, evil, or villainous.
Well, Bill Belichick has been thought of as wicked or evil or villainous.
Provide us with your luminous opinion.
Well, I don't know that I have a luminous opinion on this particular situation, other than it felt like a bad idea, and it's turned out it's been a bad idea. Now, what has happened in the essentially 24 hours? Oh, you'll appreciate this. Are you familiar with Richard Johnson at CBS Sports?
Yes.
Richard Johnson uses the word schadenfreude
Nice.
when talking about Bill Belichick.
Oh, well, do you know what that means? Don't look it up. There's a song out of a play about this. So schadenfreude is the German word for happiness at the misfortune of others. So when you see someone else, like, have you ever stopped when a waitress falls and drops a tray of glasses? Have you ever spent to watch figure skaters falling on their asses? It's a song, but like schadenfreude. Whenever you see someone else and you can go, ha ha ha, I'm glad that happened to you and not me.
Okay.
So the Falcons would be having schadenfreude.
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 You have to say it more mean. Schadenfreude.
Okay, let's not.
Well,
we already have Big Poppy making Hitler references on.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, you didn't see that?
He seems like such an amiable person.
Well, they're talking about Cam Schlittler, the Yankees pitcher.
No.
And yeah, Big Poppy's like, well, it sounds like Hitler.
No,
right?
no, they're going around the desk and they're asking the other two former Yankees players. They got A-Rod and Jeter on the desk. They're like, well, what do you call him? And they said, well, Big Poppy, what do you call him? He goes, I'd call him Hitler.
Yeah.
He's so effervescent.
Lucas is not paying attention to the last three words that you just threw out there.
Well,
anyway.
We haven't even talked about what Connolly reported.
I'm trying to get there. Go ahead.
Bill Belichick, per sources from Ollie Connolly of Read Optional, Belichick has discussed buyout options with North Carolina's hierarchy. He has signaled a willingness to trigger his own $1 million buyout if he can find a soft landing with another team or in media. He continues that members of Belichick's coaching staff have already spoken to other schools that are expected to be in the playoff about taking on roles during the postseason. From one coach, quote, the Rats are leaving the ship. Some staffers believe a change will come within 2 weeks. He continues, reports of serious recruiting violations remain under investigation at UNC. Recruiting and practice violations have already been proven by the school, according to multiple sources. Using recruit violations to knock down a coach's buyout has become a standard practice, he says. We know that from right here in Tennessee. If Belichick cannot find a landing spot to trigger his own buyout, he is expected to accept a greatly reduced, compromised rate. He also says, Belichick's communication with his staff in the past 2 weeks has been described as, quote, weird and distant by multiple members of UNC's coaching staff. Multiple coaches were unable to get a hold of him during their bye week. This is from one UNC defensive assistant to Connolly, quote, what we've done to these kids is effed up.
Yeah, it seems like this relationship is destined to be ephemeral.
The Tar Heels are 2-3. Their 3 losses against TCU, UCF, and Clemson have come by an average margin of defeat of 29 points.
It's crazy.
They're just getting dusted out there. And it's to the point where Hulu has pulled the docuseries on Bill Belichick's debut season at North Carolina. They said, never mind.
That's a fallacious decision.
No, Hulu probably would have ran with it. I think North Carolina pulled out of it.
Yes. That's the better way to put it. And North Carolina is out here having to put out statements saying everything is okay, nothing to see here.
No. Let's read the actual statement because there are 2 statements and they're both 1 sentence each. Okay.
I love the
it's the most ridiculous statement I've ever seen.
Well, before you do, last quote from the parent of a current UNC player on the current state of the program from WRAL. It's all starting at the top, and the boys are being affected. I don't fault the players. I fault the leadership that created this toxic environment. Everything seems to be falling apart. It seems to be a complete disaster. What was North Carolina's response?
Well, let's start with Bill Belichick, shall we? Because Bill Belichick has since responded via statement. I'm fully committed to UNC football and the program we're building. That is a 1-sentence statement from head coach of the Tar Heels, Bill Belichick. Would you like to hear from the athletic director?
Is it also a
Bubba Cunningham?
Is it also a diminutive statement?
It is indeed. Quote, Coach Belichick has the full support of the Department of Athletics and the university. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here at all.
Ann says on the FNM and M. Bank chat, maybe Belichick will be better when his girlfriend matriculates.
Yeah, how long till she homie hops, right? She gonna go hang, and Mac Brown looks like he's having way more fun on the golf
He's
course.
having a good time.
Maybe she ends up with Mac Brown
again. Is it Tom supposed to be your friend or something?
He's single, right?
Well, I think she's already reportedly built up her real estate portfolio enough that she's prepared to move on from Bill at whatever time she chooses. It is crazy that she's like just recently 24 years old.
I think she's endeared herself to him, if we're being honest.
Endeared is not an SAT word.
Endear is on this list to make someone feel loved and cherished.
Oh, man.
Would you say that you endear yourself to me?
No, I would say that we are... God, which one of these can I say?
I don't think any of us expected this to work.
No.
But I also don't think we expected it to get this bad this fast.
I would say that I am besotted with you. Infatuated or deeply in love with something or someone.
It's like an abusive relationship type situation.
Eventually, I will develop a sort of aplomb, and I will be able to fight for myself. I don't think I said that one correctly. APLOMB, self-confidence and poise, especially in demanding situations.
Okay.
Aplomb.
UNC goes to Cal in a classic ACC matchup Friday night. 9:30 Central kickoff. 10:30 Eastern.
That's so late for him. He's an old man.
A geriatric. Stop that.
Okay.
Imagine being a student at UNC or any of these ACC schools. Yeah, we don't kick off until 10:30 p.m.
I mean, they're not paying attention anyway. It's almost basketball season. They're on to the next. Bill Belichick. That's such a big. It's like, did you see his post-game press conference after they got shelled by TCU, where Jordan Hudson clearly got back there and decorated the entire
all the
back
balloons
with all the different balloons. It looked like a baby shower type of situation. That Bill Belichick is just grumbling and moaning after getting absolutely smoked in his first collegiate game as a head coach here. The thing about this is, all right, we have propped Bill Belichick up. Well, things have propped Bill Belichick up. And I don't want to take away from Bill Belichick's contributions to the Giants teams, that he was a defensive coordinator that won the Super Bowl, though they did have Lawrence Taylor. The Brady teams that had excellent defenses to support Tom Brady en route to Brady, not at the time being the greatest quarterback of all time, but working his way up to that point, right? There was a lesser version of Tom Brady.
No, those first couple Super Bowls are,
he's passenger
Bill
princess.
Belichick, man.
For sure. So, I'm not saying that everything that Bill Belichick has ever done in football is for naught, because he's crashed out in a just unbelievable way. But I don't think, who's more successful as a coach without the superstar quarterback? Andy Reid in Philadelphia or Bill Belichick post Tom Brady?
Well, Andy Reid had a superstar quarterback for quite some time.
McNabb?
That's a frivolous question.
Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was a superstar. But, yeah, obviously Andy doing it at multiple places now and obviously having the direct influence on the quarterback. And Belichick had an influence on Brady. He's just not the QB developer per se.
Yeah, but he also burned it out with Brady at the end.
He did.
He's as big a reason as any that they ran Brady out of New England.
Yeah, that's a tough juxtaposition, though.
I'm so sick of this game.
What's the... No, I want to see how far this can go.
I could do this all
What's the last...
I know. That's why I'm annoyed.
What's the last example of an unraveling like this for a figure as revered as Bill Belichick?
Well, there's never been a figure as revered as Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick is literally regarded as the greatest coach in the history of professional football. Don't you do it.
Naturally demure. Reserved, modest, or shy. You guys don't think Jordan looks ethereal on the sideline?
I've said that.
Extremely delicate and light in the way that
you can't even pronounce ethereal.
No, I've long said she looks ethereal on the sideline.
It would be the quintessential example of a coach's significant other.
My blood pressure is getting so high, blood is about to start spouting from my ears. Go to break. Thursdays at 12:20 are always enjoyable because Nate Washington joins us. Titans legend Nate Washington, former Titans and Steelers wide receiver. Nate, a rare enough thing for us to get to have you on after a win, but the Titans did get it done despite some hemming and hawing on the front end in Arizona. They get their first win of the season and actual offense, an actual passing game in the fourth quarter of that football game. Thanks for hopping on, bud. We were doing so well. We were on a Zoom hot streak. What happened? There we go. Right. Yeah, we got it. What's happening, Nate?
Man, I'm excited for today. You know, a couple good things to talk about finally. So I'm ready to get started.
Finally. No, at least for a week, we can put off the conversation of reality checks and desperation and all these other things, these themes that have kind of colored the last couple of weeks of your visit. So let's start with the obvious place. What did Calvin Ridley show you throughout the course of this game that was different than what you've seen from him? Is it just as simple as he went out there and executed where he has previously not been?
Well, I've seen him bounce back with his confidence in a tremendous way. As I spoke about last week, you know, watching film and watching these catch attempts, you know, I could just see a huge lack in his confidence and something that he needed to get back together, understand that he was there for a purpose and an ability, that he had a talent to bring to the table. And that's what I seen this game. You know, I seen a receiver that was back into believing in himself and understanding his position. You know, out of all of the catches, I think, you know, although I would have liked him to take it to the house, the post was the most impressive. I seen a receiver be able to catch the ball away from his body. And that lets me know you believe in your hands, you believe in your ability. You know, a lot of guys, when they're trying to come back and from having confidence lapse and those type of things, you know, you'll watch a receiver try to body a lot of catches. You know, they want to catch everything with their body. But that post told me, you know, he's starting to believe again. And I'm pretty sure he'll tell you he still wants more. But, you know, in the same sense, this is a huge help for the Titans to see him gain back his confidence.
Well, and I think, you know, for Calvin, he's saying as little as humanly possible right now because he understands that he has to, you know, he has to go out there and do it again. I mean, it's a cliche that you guys and coaches hit media with all the time, is just trying to go 1-0 every week. But like the meaning behind that, Nate, when that's the theme of the week or the theme of any week for a coaching staff or for a locker room, like that feels particularly easy to talk about in a game like this where a million different things happened. The results were drunk as hell. But ultimately, you did enough to survive your opponent. You went 1-0 this week. Now let's find a way to do it the week after. Like, I think the compartmentalization of something like that is difficult for fans and media as well to kind of grapple with, because we're always trying to extract greater meaning out of things or thinking that there might be more there than there actually is. But when you guys simplify things that way as a locker room, as players, how important is that as a mindset to you?
Oh, it's very important because, I mean, you know, no matter whether you play bad or good the previous week, the next week is coming. And those responsibilities are there again. And the consistency, as you stated, is important. I spoke in the beginning of the season about veteran leadership and the reliability in your veterans, you know. So being reliable, you can't just be reliable 1 week. It has to be consistent. It has to be something that you're putting in, week out. And as the mind state of a player, you know, I would come out of some of my best games, you know, with the Titans, some of my best catches, you know, leaving the Detroit game and going to the next week. It's hard to let those things go, especially when you're going places and you're being recognized. And I'm pretty sure if he's out in the community, he may have people walking up to him and telling him congratulations about his previous game and those type of things that remind you of the last week. But in the same sense, there's still work to be done, you know. So the only way you can attack that next week and have the correct mind state is letting go whatever happened the previous week, good, bad, and making sure you're focused on your job coming up that next week.
Because Calvin knows more than most that if he doesn't perform in Vegas, for example, there would be plenty of jokes at his expense regarding gambling and all manner of other things. Like Calvin understands.
Jesus.
I mean, that's what it is, right? Twitter is a terrible, terrible place. unfortunately, Nate. And, I mean, you handle it better than most, I think, in your interactions. But God knows those people are out there. At NWash85 is where you can follow him on Twitter. Nate Washington joins us every Thursday.
Nate, what to you were the biggest differences in what the Titans were doing offensively in the first three quarters versus the fourth quarter, when Cam Ward and that downfield passing game really opens up the 2-minute? What, in your mind, really opened things up for Cam there, and so far the best moment he's had in his rookie year?
Well, I think more than anything, you just seen a guy that started to build trust and understanding the speed of the game. I think throughout that time, because I know we've heavily criticized this offensive line, and we've been on them hard, but at the same time, you've watched them grow throughout that game and watched them be more protective of Cam, and him started to settle in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had Greg Cosell on the show, and he was speaking about, his mechanics being harmed by his lack of trust, him not being able to have his feet under him and those type of things. And I totally agree. That's exactly what I've seen. You've seen a guy that was foundationally sound in his technique go from being panicky and quick feet and those type of things. And that's strictly due to trust, so for him to settle into this game, especially even though the sense of urgency changed in the fourth quarter, being down and understanding that you had to hurry up and put some points on the board, he seemed more settled. He seemed more trustworthy with his offensive line. His body posture, his mechanics were there, his ability to read the field inside out, take what the defense gave him. All of those things were there, and he took advantage of it late in the game.
How much of a challenge is the trip out west, come back to Nashville, practice a few days, and then head back out west? Like, is that a factor to you as the Titans head back out there to take on Vegas this Sunday?
Oh, you know what, man, Lucas, man, I was thinking about that, after the game was over. I was hoping in a sense that they would stay on that side, because in all honesty, although Nashville is on Central Time, it is a huge difference in playing. Your body adjusts different. Obviously you talk about jet lag and those things when it comes to athletes and the time change and the time zones, but in the same sense, it's a damper in your whole routine. If you are a guy that wakes up at 9 or 8 a.m. on Central Time on game day, now you're going to look at your body waking you up at 6 a.m. So it's a lot of adjustment for an athlete. I think the additional time that they could have had staying on the West Coast would have benefited them. But yes, I would totally agree. Whether it's going to be something that they can weather that storm or not, that's going to be up to those personal athletes. But in the same sense, it's definitely something that they have to deal with.
Just for curiosity's sake, it has nothing to do with the game. What was your preferred time slot? Like, were you a guy that you loved the noon kickoff because of how steady a routine it was week over week? Did you love the Monday night or Thursday night or Sunday night lights or the late afternoon kickoff? Like, did you have a favorite kickoff time in the NFL?
To be honest with you, I loved 1 o'clock. I loved 1 o'clock because, in all honesty, man, my anxiety would build. The primetime games at night, it wasn't that I obviously already had, nervousness from being a professional athlete, but, waiting all day, sitting around, trying to find something constructive to do with your time, not wanting to sleep too much because you don't want your body to be too lethargic and those type of things, it just was a huge duty, So I loved playing at 1 o'clock. I loved getting up. I love having my routine of going to breakfast, my ride to the stadium. I would love arriving earlier. The later I got in my career, I began to be one of those guys that were the first one in the locker room because I love having that time of, getting in the shower, taking my time with the trainers, getting stretched, getting in the hot tub, whatever it is that I needed to do. I love having that time to not have the rush to take care of those things. So I love 12 o'clock games. And for me personally, it was always something that I just had to do and force myself to make it through and making it through those late night primetime games.
Nate, Cam in the post-game press conference with us was asked about, playing tempo, essentially, 2-minute, 4-minute, just getting on the ball and not allowing the defense a sufficient time to reset or not allowing them to show different looks, swap in personnel. all manner of different things. And the quote was that he would live in 2-minute and 4-minute if they'd let him. Realistically, we understand that you can't just convert your entire offensive game plan into just, all right, on the ball like college, read and react. Let's go, boys, because there's a couple of different things, a bunch of different reasons why that wouldn't work in the NFL, and it has to be specific to opponents, what have you. I think fans, though, immediately veer to an extreme, like, well, just run more tempo with him, get him comfortable, not necessarily looking at, for example, the Cardinals game where they come out 12 personnel, some 21, like they're playing heavy sets, extra offensive linemen with the intention of running the ball to support the young quarterback the way that you've talked about with us many, many times. I'm sure you've had conversations to that effect as well. I don't feel like the default should be, all right, just go no huddle, go hurry up for him to get him in those positions, to still use it as a tool. But the emphasis has to be for this football team running the ball, no?
No, definitely. I definitely still stand on the fact that this team definitely its foundation needs to be its run game. That's what slows down everything. It slows down the pass rush. It slows down, the legs of your linebackers, the ability to be able to keep up with your tight ends late in the game. It definitely, it's a huge effect. It has a huge effect on the game, but as I've been speaking about, previously in these weeks, Buck, I've also mentioned that tempo and a hurry up style offense would also benefit them in a major way. It's outside of the obvious fatigue that it puts a defense in. It slows and vanillas a lot of the looks that Cam will have. You can't come out in those exotic blitz looks when you have a team lining up on the ball every play, and it gives him ability to go play comfortably early enough in a lot of instances. And I agree, you can't come out there and hang your hat on lining up and spread at this point and running a hurry-up offense throughout the duration of a half. But I do feel like, a series here and there at this point, still early in the season for the Titans would benefit them in both halves, to find an opportunity to take advantage of a hurry-up offense will definitely benefit Cam in a lot of ways of giving him a vanilla cover 2, cover 3, cover 1 type of look and allowing him to be comfortable.
We talked a lot about penalties in the early part of the season, and to their credit, they've cut down on the penalties. Specifically pre-snap on offense. They're still leading the league in special teams penalties in particular, but they have cleaned some of that up, and we talked about this, Nate. It's just simply don't do it. Like, especially the pre-snap stuff, just don't do it. Don't line up in the neutral zone, all these other things that seem to bog them down. I feel the same way about guys who fumble as they're getting ready to cross the end zone or cross the goal line for a touchback. Nate, how the hell is this still happening in professional football?
I think a lot of things are just taken for granted, lackadaisical. I used to have a coach that called it, you just being lackadaisical. And you look at these situations and these guys, and a lot of times these are guys obviously that are 5-10 yards ahead of the crowd. They might be looking at the Jumbotron. They might be ready to celebrate, whatever is on their mind. But you have to accomplish the main goal first, and that's crossing the goal line so that you can have a touchdown. And I think in the mind of those guys, a lot of times, they're just not realizing what position they're actually in. Here it is, you've made a big play. Here it is, you're going to be, you're going to be the topic of discussion and all these things that are running through your head. You want to have a cool celebration. You want to do this, you want to do that. But my guy, you have to cross the line first. And no matter what goes on, that is your main job, to put points on the board, especially when you're in position to. And I think it's just a lack of mental integrity at that time to understand what their duty is at that time, and that's to help their team first and foremost by putting points on the board.
I don't know if you saw this story that Ben Jones, who comes on with us on Mondays, was telling about the 2017 Titans offense and the play caller at the time, Terry Robisky. Can we play a quick clip of that for Nate Washington, Robert? Because I wonder if he's ever heard of anything even remotely like this.
So I've been in multiple offenses. So, like, when we had Terry Robisky, he gave us nothing. Like, he literally just said, y'all go play. So me and Marcus would have the
That sounds about right, by the way.
We would have the whole game plan. Like, I was like, what is going on? Like, most people give you, so, like, say And when we had Vrabel, it was literally all done by numbers. So, like, you get on the ball and you would hear, say, 33. And for 33, gave us a protection, so that gave us 3 jet, and that gave the receivers the route. So they would just literally say it in there, and all Tannehill had to do was, hey, signal, hey, we're going to be in 3-by-1 or 2-by-2. He would do that. He would give them the number. The receivers knew the play. So really, it was all out of his hands. Like, yes, we could check some protections by pressure, but that was as simple as you can. We just went faster and made the defense communicate and get in the cover. But when we had Trubisky, we got nothing. Like, it was just like, turn off the mic. Y'all have fun, boys.
For a rookie quarterback.
So me and Marcus would be out there.
Wasn't a rookie, but still.
So the playoff game versus the Chiefs, when we came back and won, we got no play call the whole second half from Trubisky.
Nate, there is an assumption, I think, from fans and media, frankly, that coaches do their jobs, right, in certain situations. Right. I have to imagine that when players hear, and that's obviously an extreme example.
Seems as extreme as it gets.
But I think the point still there is, at the end of the day, like, there are some coaches who aren't qualified to be doing the jobs that they are and handling high-level professional athletes. Nate, I mean, I'm sure you could speak to that better than most.
You know, I as you stated, I can't be as drastic as, you know, Ben's story, but I definitely heard that story. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest, because this, man, you know, to a large respect of, you know, a lot of the guys that are in position, you know, one of those guys, my mentor, great friend of mine today, Bruce Arians, you know, he was one of the guys that I feel like knew the game. He took advantage of his opportunities. You know what I mean? He wasn't just placed in a position. He was my receivers coach when I got in the league in 2005. I obviously left the game as one of the most well-respected head coaches to be in this generation of football right now, you know. But one of my main gripes, you know, is a lot of these guys are just, you know, upper guys' friends. And you get in there and there's no preparation. There's no, things can be very vanilla. You know, if I'm going to give my story, I recall, you know, being in a 2-minute drill with an opportunity to win the game. We were down 4 or 5 at the time, and we had one of the most stubborn offensive coordinators that I had dealt with at the time. And we had ran the same play down the field, no lie. Like, maybe out of 8 plays, we ran that play like 5-6 times. The same exact play. And it had gotten to the point where I was in the slot at the time, and I was working with the tight end on our combination, and the linebackers just started dropping our tight end and started jumping me. So I'm telling our offensive coordinator at the time, like, hey, you know, we need to allow him to adjust his route. So long story short, we make it down in the red zone. We get down there, they call a timeout. He calls the same play in the huddle. And I tell him, I said, I kind of, you know, griped in. I said, hey, listen, if he runs a post here instead of a corner, he's going to be wide open for the touchdown. He doesn't make the adjustment. We leave from the sideline. We get in the huddle. And I tell everybody, our quarterback at the time was a young guy. I'm pretty sure everybody understand who I mean when I say that. But he was a young guy. And I step in the middle of the huddle. I said, hey, listen, you going to run this post. Don't run this flag. You're going to be wide open. Our young quarterback says, hey, Nate, I can't. I said, listen, trust me, I will be accountable. If it hits the fan, I'm taking all the blame, right? Young guy says, man, I don't know, man. I don't really want to do this. We break the huddle, go to the line. Guys set up. We run the play. My tight end, he runs my post I asked for, and he's wide open. And because my quarterback was listening to our offensive coordinator, he got trigger shy, didn't throw the ball. We get in the meetings one day, and I'm talking about I was expecting to get ripped because I knew my offensive coordinator had knew that I was the one that changed the play. And he humbly said, you know, I was wrong, Nate, but you can't do this. You can't go in and you can't personally change the huddle because I have leadership here. But he humbly respected that he was wrong in that moment and should have listened to me, and we had an opportunity to win the game. So, you know, you have guys that come into those positions and they very standard. They're very vanilla, very cookie cutter. This is what we do on third down. This is what we do on second and long. And you have guys like Bruce Arians that came in the game and says, well, I'm seeing what you're doing to me, and I'm going to attack that. I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to make sure we're successful by adjusting to whatever it is that you're doing to us. And I just think that's one of those things, a lot of these guys become structurally and standard so about their operation that they can't adjust in the middle of the moment, and it hurts them.
As well said as could possibly be said. That's why we enjoy Nate Washington's visits. Buddy, we appreciate it as always. We'll see if they can't stack back-to-back. It's been so long, Nate, since they've won back-to-back games. I can't even imagine getting on here with you next Thursday and talking about consecutive wins, but we will see.
We'll love it, man. Thanks for having me as always, guys.
That's the main man.
Love you, Nate.
Nate Washington. Stop harassing him. Stop it. Does it hurt you when it's just hanging in the air? Your outburst of love, your outpouring of love.
He didn't hear you, buddy.
That's what they all say.
He definitely heard me.
He didn't. No,
he definitely heard me. But he said love first, so I was like, oh, he got love on the mind. Maybe he'll be like, love you too, Bert. Maybe one day.
He didn't hear you, buddy.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Show's almost over. That means lunchtime. It means Hattie B's. Hey, it's Lucas. You know I would never lead you astray when it comes to food. So believe me when I tell you that Hattie B's is the best hot chicken in the world. That's because it is family owned. It is locally owned and operated. Even for like me, the food is what's most important. Well, they believe that too. Their fried chicken is crispy. It's juicy. It's spiced to perfection. And the best part is they have something for everyone. Hot or not, everything in between. If you're like me, the medium just rides that line perfectly. You can be a psycho, go all the way up to shut the clock up. Nobody's stopping you. Or if you just want some perfect fried chicken, get the Southern and roll with their incredible sides, the pimento mac and cheese, the Southern greens, just to name a couple. By the way, Hattie B's doing salads. These Southern salads, I have two words for you: cornbread, croutons. You can thank me later. Go to HattieB.com, download the Hattie B's app today, get a free dessert simply by doing so. Get one of those jumbo wing buckets to fuel your watch party or tailgate, and head to Hattie B's Hot Chicken.
Last call for phone calls if you got them. 615-737-1045 is the number. Can't help but move your shoulders a little bit when this one plays. Makes me happy. Titans back on the practice field, or they will be concluding practice by the time we get out there today. Brief practice tomorrow, then on the road to Vegas. We'll see if Jeff Simmons was a participant in practice today. If he did, that would obviously be a positive development. And he will speak in the locker room afterwards. We'll see if J.C. Latham can stack practice days that way, and we'll see how many guys return from rest who are just, getting a little long in the tooth. Tyler Lockett, L'Jarius Sneed could use a little management that way. There is show beef, though. Do you want to bring this to air? You've been gaslighting your beloved Robert about taking him to lunch, and we don't have to name the establishment. Well, why don't I take a phone call before we air our grievances Festivus style?
I don't want to talk about it.
Lane is in Westmoreland. Yeah, are you?
Yeah, I am. I'm here. You kidding me? I'm looking out the window at the beautiful sunshine.
Love that. What you got for us?
Well, I tell you what. We got a real good core of guys, and we do. But we got to quit trading away our players. And for one, we could string together some wins. We just got to let this kid Cam Ward get out there and play his game. Loosen up the reins a little bit, because you can see he's a killer ball player. Let's just do it. We got Jeff Simmons we got to put somebody alongside Jeff, and we got to do the offensive line. We got to do something with that. But I love my Titans, man. I'm a founder. I helped bring them up here out of Houston. I watched them while I was over in Vanderbilt, and I was an initial PSL holder over at Titan Stadium. We got a team. Let's put some winners on the field. We got a brand new dome stadium coming online. Let's do it, guys. Tighten up.
Thank you for the call, Lane.
That was an incredible call, but what was that awful noise in the background?
It was us. Just us.
Yep.
Imagine us being the soundtrack to your day. Oh.
Make me sadder than I already am.
Appreciate the call. One day we will get people to turn down their radios in the background. But yes, everything that you said, Lane, is correct. They need more support for Cam Ward. Now, you two want to hash this out?
No.
We're going to play nice?
No.
What is why don't you start? You seem to be the most aggrieved party. I will be arbiter here.
Don't look back at me. Lucas is supposed to be my friend. It's the first person I ever talked to in Nashville. First person I ever befriended, been to his house, pet his dog, pet his cat, eaten his food. But it seems like he no longer wants to break bread with me, because we used to have the kind of friendship, a kinship, a foodship, where we could meet and go somewhere. Maybe it was the Indian lunch buffet downtown. Maybe it was another buffet somewhere in town.
Everything involves all you can eat.
Yeah.
Maybe it was food, Maybe
just
it was
gorging yourself.
But it seems like now Lucas is too busy. I'm doing air quotes. He's too busy. I have so much to do.
Why does Lucas sound like Cheyenne?
I don't know. Because they both annoy me. They both stop me from eating the things I want to eat. So when I asked Lucas, hey, what are you doing after the show? Want to go get a bite to eat? Want to look longingly into each other's eyes? What did he say? I'm too busy.
I offered a rain check.
I don't want to.
What more do you want?
Now
from
wait.
me?
The floor is yours for rebuttal.
I got things to do. I got
things to do. Listen to him.
I gotta put the floor is mine.
It's like a cat.
I gotta put my head together with Rhett Bryan and put the finishing touches on what Titans Countdown is going to sound like on Titans Radio.
A meeting of the minds.
2 p.m. Central Time Sunday, Titans Raiders at Allegiant Stadium.
Uh-huh.
I have a lot of prep work to do for our Friday Night Rivals broadcast tomorrow night. I'd like to get a little bit of exercise in, move around a little bit in between. So I got things.
Time has expired. I'm going to get back on the ground now that the floor is no longer yours.
I offered up Tuesday. Let's go on Tuesday to this establishment, this all-you-can-eat establishment, and absolutely gorge ourselves. We will have we will have bulgogi coming out of our ears.
Don't give any more ideas.
Kimchi coming out of my nose.
I don't want to think about
after we eat at this Korean barbecue establishment.
Orifices.
I have to read this text because my phone went off. It's from Blue, and it says, "Preach."
Well, and you know what else? My lovely fiance will be in town next week. She would love to break bread with you on a Tuesday after the show. So what's so wrong with that?
Damn it.
I was already done. I already hung up the phone.
All right. Robert, do you accept?
I guess. I don't really have a choice. This is like the girl that you ask out to prom, and she's like, I'll do it if no one else asks me. I guess I'll go with you.
Did you have an experience like that? I think that's a very unique experience that you're just describing. I don't think many of us have asked somebody to go to prom and then been told, I will unless somebody else asks me.
I never had a prom date. I always went as a solo dolo.
That lines up.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, for fear that you would get naked in the middle of the prom and streak.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford. Could Jeffrey Simmons win Defensive Player of the Year on the Titans this year? 56% say no.
Nope.
Does Bill Belichick make it to next year at North Carolina? 86% say no.
No.
Does Tennessee come?
And those are the polls. Thank you.
12.5 against Arkansas. 61% say yes.
He's too loud. We can't stop him.
How did he get it back on? I dropped the mic.
That's my mic. Go ahead,
too powerful.
It's like a gale force wind. Those the polls?
They are.
That's the show. Will, Bert, and Lucas go to lunch together. We'll never know. Prime time tonight before Thursday night football. We'll get an early start, get going around 6 so you can enjoy an NFC East matchup. We'll see you then.